Oh my gosh. Well, there is some very interesting conversation going on in the Zoom chat, but hi, welcome back to Naturally One. And I finally got the music to stop because apparently that was broken. Oh. All right, let's let's just get everyone here. I was gonna do some stuff by myself. We're just gonna get everyone. Here we go.
You're playing
Oh,
a
hey, there we
dangerous
go.
game.
Hey. Oh yeah, now
They're
everyone's
gonna
live,
see all my
so
backgrounds.
oh, they are gonna see all your backgrounds, so you should behave yourself
Oh.
there.
Okay. Put away the domination plans, guys.
Now
We
I'm
gotta-
just curious what like random pictures I can put in here that are dangerous.
You know, I
Oh.
tried
Nothing
doing
against
a
TOS.
video of a storm so I could use that as a background, but it just didn't work for me. So, yeah, there's some nice experiments that you can do with that.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to the lighting, or if you tell it you have a green screen, it has a much better time doing stuff like
Yeah.
that. But anyway, hello. Welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks. It hasn't been a full month this time. We managed to pull it off.
Shocking!
Ah. So, I guess some minor housekeeping type things. This is recorded. We will be posting it to YouTube hopefully by the end of the week. The links for all of the previous episodes are, well, basically follow that if it works. Why is it not working?
Yeah.
There it is. That just took a bit. Also, if you want to see the schedule of stuff that's going on this channel here, check out the Discord. And yeah, that's that part. As always, we're just gonna be behind the scenes working to improve things and stuff, and so hopefully we can enhance this in the time coming. I don't know why it was being all glitchy when we was doing the opening thing, but whatever. I had another thought. Now it's gone. Oh, right. Dave, who plays Clore, is not going to be able to join us tonight. So I will be subbing in for Clore, and someone else will probably be rolling his roles as needed. We'll see. And yeah, that's about it for now. This is going to be good. I'm excited. I've been chomping at the bit to play more D&D with you all. So,
Chomping or champing?
Both.
whatever the appropriate term is.
Okay, just checking.
They champed and they stamped.
Okay, no, no, stop.
40 white horses on a red hill. First they champed, then they stamped, then they stood still.
And then they stand still.
They stand still. What am I?
A horse is a horse, of course, of course.
Speaking of movies, Batman's great.
I saw Death on the Nile. That was great.
I want to see that.
I want to see that.
But we have a theater that has a restaurant, so you can it's connected, so it's you take your food into the theater and it's a full dinner theater type thing. Anyway, and we saw Batman.
I would love to have one of those
Does the
nearby.
theater have like tables where you can sit and actually dine,
Yes.
or okay?
There's still theater chairs, but they have like trays attached to the armrest, or if you sit in like the cushiony cuddle couches at the front, they have tables.
Oh,
And then they
okay.
have a whole beer and wine selection in the back, and then they have a full pizza selection, and then all that stuff.
So I imagine that is like the perfect environment if they ever do like Rocky Horror.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, that'd be intense. They'd be really close. It's not big.
Okay.
You would be like, if you were in the cuddle couches, you'd be like, 4 inches, not 4 inches, like
Really close.
you'd be within 10 feet of Frankenfurter at all times.
That's close.
I mean, that's what some people
There
want
are
in
worse
life.
places to be.
Depends on the size of the furter.
What?
Dun dun dun.
Anyway. Size doesn't matter. It's how he uses the Frankenfooter.
I mean, honestly, it
What
all
liar
it all,
said
it all
that?
depends on the size of the bun. Because if you have too much furter, not enough bun, you're eating bread at that point.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
But make
a
sure you have
Like, I don't
condiments.
know anything.
ratio of
Moving
Furter
on.
to bun.
As long as you have ketchup, we're good.
I
Anyway.
too like hot dogs.
I
The
like
Costco
mayonnaise.
brand are great.
I'm sorry, Shelby. What did you say? One more time, Shelby? I heard something. I'm pretty sure you said something about mayonnaise.
You don't
Oh,
put mayonnaise on a hot
God.
dog.
I really do. I put mayonnaise and ketchup, and if I'm feeling exciting, I'll add mustard.
Are you part Canadian? I understand that mayonnaise is very popular in Canada.
Oh,
No, but after living in Japan and eating Japanese mayo for such a long time, I do have an affinity for it.
Okay, that explains it. Okay.
It's different. It's different. It doesn't
mean,
taste like American mayo.
It's like Miracle Whip.
No, it's not. It's different because I can't stand Miracle Whip. And anytime anybody says Miracle Whip, I can just think of that line from King of the Hill when Bobby's next door neighbor is like, I like your mom. She smells like Miracle Whip.
gross.
Anyway. I had a direction I was gonna go with this, but who wants to recap last session? There we go. That's a thing that could be done. Who wants to recap the last session?
Better yet, let's just refer to this as the long-term memory test.
Yes. What is your and it hasn't been as long as last time, so more of you should remember more things, statistically. I'm gonna start with you, Stuart, because you look so confident in your recollection of past events.
There was something about theoretical mass murder.
Only theoretical.
Acts of domestic terrorism.
It was
depending who was terrorized. I'm pretty sure that we ended up splitting up because some people wanted to make sure that the people on the train were okay, and others were concerned with removing themselves from the situation of potential incrimination. And
It was more of help. There was help.
I mean, it helped the people that were getting out of there not be incriminated. But yeah. Does anyone have a more concise, probably a better recollection of what happened?
Theo kind of sweet talked Penn and Bob, the medically minded folks, into checking out the collapsed or the off-railed train to see if they could offer help. They found one person and deliberately ignored possible others, so they had no obligation to help. No, that's what they figured.
Hey,
had a moment.
It's called plausible deniability.
There was no evidence that we could have helped in any way.
I wasn't even there, officer.
They had a bonding moment by the side of the tracks while they, checked in on their sadly deceased patient and just took a little breather. Meanwhile, Theo, Clore, and Runningham were busy trying to figure out how to stop trains from derailing. Clore was awesome and tapped into super senses at one point to figure out how to tell when the trains were coming. Multiple ways of trying to alert the trains were tried, including attempting to set it on fire. We managed to sort of slow one of them down, missed another one entirely. Clore stayed behind while Theo and Ren backtracked to see if the third train that had passed, the one that they kind of slowed, maybe there was a way to communicate with the way stations inside that train, or some way to alert people that there was an issue with the tracks. And Clore remained behind to warn the party, and that's about where we left off, with Theo and Ren booking it back towards the trains, or medically minded folks still kind of waiting nearby and concluding that maybe that light that they saw that was coming towards them was possibly one of their party members, and Clore remaining behind to occasionally shoot off bursts of eldritch magic into the sky as a warning.
Yes. So, for the record, there are currently 3 train cars that have been derailed. One catastrophically, the second even more so, and then the third attempted to slow down in time and instead kind of caught and slid off. And there looks to be, from those who can see, there looked to be some activity and some people moving around by where that third car went down. And that's where we left off. So, I'm going to start with Pen and Bob, as you guys have been slowly making your way towards, what you think is your party members, and as they are heading up the track towards where there might be hopefully some survivors.
Okay, so we're meandering.
Meandering.
To love and marriage
Marriage
Thank you.
is what brings us together
together
today.
Meandering. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. As we are meandering forward, headed towards our point of contact with the rest of our party, I guess the thoughts that we would be thinking about would be, so what do you think? Is that guy going to survive? Or is it safe to leave him there? Do we really have a choice? Should we drag him along?
I think he's already dead, isn't he?
He's dead.
Well, no, we didn't we do a heal spell and brought him back to above 50% dead, to where he's not mostly dead anymore, but sort of kind of
no,
dead.
he's dead.
The
Oh,
patient is dead and cold. Penn politely requests Bob ignore his goings on if he has objections to the tiefling performing an experiment. Bob
damn it.
turns around.
I was so desperately hoping that he would still be alive. Oh well,
Yeah,
these things
me
happen.
too.
All right, so I guess we
He's
should.
better off. We saved him from a misery life of mining.
Oh, such a dark future. Okay. Well, I guess we're going to rejoin the party and hope we don't get hit by any more flying rail cars.
Debris.
Because this seems to be the area of flying rail cars, so
Seems
we should keep an eye out.
problematic.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens, I guess.
I say let's go to the rest of the people where the party was clearly on their way to, and let's see if they have some sort of explanation for what's occurring.
Or some way of slowing down this slow moving massacre. I mean, it's you know how they say it's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. You just can't avert your eyes.
You
Maybe
blink
there
and
was,
these are done.
yeah. This is more like a scheduled train wreck. You could like have a picnic and
Every
No,
five.
if anything, this should really be telling them that they are significantly lacking in their disaster response. What if maybe there was an earthquake along the rails that caused some of this, and they don't have a system to prevent this from happening in the future. Whatever has caused this is clearly incentive for these people to upgrade some of their communication technologies in order to prevent future natural disasters like this from occurring.
Whatever
No,
could possibly happened.
and of course the
Only
next
there
big
was a way to
question.
stop it.
The next question is where's the NTSB? I mean, come on. Isn't there any regulatory oversight on this?
Exactly. I haven't seen the FRAA. Like, come on, where's the railroad? We need the
Yeah.
board here.
I mean,
Nobody has been certified for this. I have
Doesn't-
seen no certifications going around classifying these rails as safe for travel.
There was a stamp on the side of there was a stamp.
Not only that, but you would think that the railroad workers union would have something to say about these safety standards.
I don't think they have a union.
All right.
I'm not there, but I don't think they have a union. Just
Well, they should. I mean, obviously, if this is a situation where this is normal operating procedure, you would think that
They should
somebody
complain
would
to
not
their
be
board
happy.
members. They should unionize if they aren't already. We have to help them. We need to go down to these people and we need to help them understand their rights in forming a union. They could have such better working conditions and a safer means of travel if they would just stand up for themselves.
Not only that, but they would have the prospect of actually getting home at the end of the day.
Assuming they make it through their shift, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we have so
We
much
could
work ahead
increase
of us,
their chances of survival by like 50% in one day.
which would be astonishing. It'd be like finding a cure to cancer.
We're
I
gonna
feel like
be
you're
there for it.
setting up a union buster as like a mini boss.
The Pinkerton man.
You have given
Well,
me
Pinkerton.
so many things to think about. Um,
Doug's brain right now. It's just too many pieces.
So, as
So
Penn
this is the conversation as we return to the rest of the group.
and Bob,
We're walking over to the group of surviving.
yeah,
survivors.
they just continue to rant about basically their cover.
I
Because
mean, you're not wrong.
all right, so Theo and Renningham.
Now, was that an example of presentism where we impose modern values on a on a culture that doesn't have those values?
No, I definitely had a union organization when I was going through med school. I mean, you can't be a legitimate grave robber or be managing cemeteries without a union in place. Things would just go to chaos. You'd have bodies dug up all the time and never replaced properly.
Okay, I
That's
get it.
something
You
you're
guys have
against.
you've got to coordinate your grave
Pro.
robbery. Okay.
Because of the union, things are kept in order, especially
Now,
for grave.
is that actually a union or is it more of a form of organized crime?
See, now you're talking
We're a
about
union.
government.
Say not your.
We're absolutely a union.
Okay, just checking.
Wink.
I'm sorry. I'm actually like cry laughing. Okay. Oh. The next canonical thing that has happened is there is now a grave robbers union.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Shelby, you and I
Really
will be
a
talking
grassroots-
about the ins and outs of how this grave robbers union works because that's
really a
apparently
grassroots organization.
That's how it started, obviously.
really because that's where corpses grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Breathe,
So-
Doug.
Theo and Renningham, you guys are running along the sides of the rain tracks, the train tracks, heading
Night.
down towards where
I'm a
the
ranger, not a monk.
second and third cars have careened off. One hitting the divot dead on and not bouncing and rolling, and the other one sliding along the other tracks before rolling off the side. So, what's going on?
Yeah, that
Talk to me.
light inside the train car, that is Theo's marker, and he's just kind of relying on Renningham to keep reminding him whenever Clore is shooting off those notices that, hey, you might want to pay attention behind you. Something is coming.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm slowly walking backwards to kind of keep an eye, but also get close to where the train car is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the whole goal, is just to see if they can maybe get a stop on the trains. Again, Theo is just full out sprinting. He's not in the mood to talk at all. I think at this point he's probably like getting to the point where he's getting kind of worn out. He's sturdy, but that's a lot of running.
Floor, mind you, during this time is back to his pattern of like running across the tracks and trying to feel and listen for which ones might have another train coming down it.
Ren, how we looking?
Well, I haven't seen one pop up yet. He's just kind of running back and forth from what I can tell.
Oh, good. That means we're probably not about to get hit by some giant flying metallic carriage thing propelled by, oh, what was it again? Inertia, gravity. I can't remember. Whatever the phrase was that they used. The
No, you
thing
had
that
it.
comes in and out.
Yeah, the thing that comes. Yeah, no, you were right on it. The inertia is caused by the gravity being affected by the forces.
I'm picturing Renningham making that face as he says it, knowing that Theo can't see him. Like,
He's doing his best here, guys. He knows what gravity is, at least.
Oh yeah.
Basically, when an apple
Sure.
falls off of a tree and hits you in the head when you're not paying attention, or when your little sibling pushes something off the table. That's an example, right? Maybe. I don't know. He doesn't know.
Oh, great. Now I have to figure out who Newton is in this universe. Anyway. Okay. So, as you continue to go,
Who weighs a
you're
ton?
running. You're running
You
for
said
another
Newton
minute or
weighs
two.
a ton.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're running for another minute or two before, Rinningham, you see Clor pop off another 2 Eldritch Blasts into the air.
It looks like we've got one coming in hot.
Oh, great. We gotta book it, pal. We gotta get there as fast as possible. Oh, dang. I'm moving about as fast as I can, though, and I gotta tell you, I'm getting really tired. Oh.
How about can
there's
I
no-
I would like to hum a tune to inspire Theo as they're running, and it it comes kind of from the back of the throat, but it's as they're running.
Consider me inspired. Oh, beautiful.
Down deep
Are you-
inside,
are
I was
you-
kind of hoping theme from Chariots of Fire.
Right?
Theo
But
suddenly feels,
that's a better choice. It's more uplifting.
Mhm,
all of a
mhm.
sudden, but I don't know. I feel like I could run up and down a bunch of stairs without really breaking a sweat.
Yeah, the first time I heard that song was from someone that was just hitting meat in a freezer.
Really?
He was
That's an
just going
interesting-
crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I know you gotta tenderize me, but that's
It
that's a
wasn't for
difference from-
tenderizing. I think he just hated cows.
yeah, must have been a vegetarian.
Vegan.
I'm going to kill these cows and then I'm going to punch them out.
That's animal rights.
All right.
All right.
So you continue to see Rinningham as Clor keeps firing off everything he can down. Like it's I have it written down. It's like the 6th or 7th rail over at this point. You guys are beyond where they've all joined together. So he's just firing things down. You can see he's trying to do everything he can, like he was, to get their attention as this train comes in at breakneck speed. After as you guys continue to join, you can now see each other more clearly. That Pen and Bob, this is very clearly like your party members that you are approaching, and you guys can now see Pen and Bob coming from down the hill. The tiefling's horns, just a little glinty as the moon continues to rise above into the valley.
Perfect.
And you guys are now probably 300 or some odd feet from the car that has people in it. You can actually now see motion. You can see lots of humanoid figures moving about, occasionally blocking that light. What'd you say?
He's gonna.
Yeah, as we get closer, we got another one coming in hot. Everybody brace yourselves.
Yeah. Another train. We gotta get those people. We gotta let them know what's going on. We couldn't slow them all down, but if we can get to that one, whew. That way.
It's not letting me roll dice. There we go.
I'm sure we've already done this, and I'm probably just not recalling it, but have we had our folks with the greatest engineering skills actually see if we can repair this tentatively? Because obviously this is going to keep happening until somebody says stop sending these trains, and it's by the time that anyone, whether it's us or a survivor or anybody else, could make it back to tell them to stop, it's not going to. I mean, unless we have a teleport spell, this is just going to continue. I mean, have we exhausted all of our efforts to correct this problem from a mechanical point of view?
We have not tried to fix the tracks yet, no. But that's because I think we were all under the impression that they were very much mangled. So the better solution was trying to stop the trains and
But it seems like stopping is just not working. Maybe we should revisit the problem again.
How
Just-
familiar
just-
are you with metallurgical properties of rail cars?
0.
Pen, any knowledge of metalworking?
Only to graft bones to metal. No.
Well, interesting you bring grafting bones to metal or metal to bones because we have lots of bones here. We could potentially fix the track if we arrange the bones in such a way that you can graft the metal onto them, creating a momentary.
Actually, hold on. That's not a bad idea. We have enough bodies here. If we just use the femurs of everybody, we can just use the strongest bone in the body. It would probably be able to support it so long as we reinforced it properly. We could make train tracks out of, well, reduce, reuse, recycle. We could help rebuild.
Do you realize what we're looking at building here? We're rebuilding the Road of Bones.
That sounds like we would be cursed.
Would we though? They're already dead.
Road of Bones has a cursy tone to it. Is the next train come in yet? While we're talking about
Theo's just still
How
moving.
melodic it would be. We'd have different sized femurs, and if it just resonated right, it has to be like a bony xylophone.
He's got
It
this
could be
like
a beautiful trip at that.
Theo's like in passing as he goes by. Theo's gonna give them this look like, what are you three talking about?
Saving lives.
Solutions. We're coming up with solutions.
Rinningham.
Not all, but we can use bones well enough.
You can see Chlor is now much more frantically like throwing Eldritch blasts and just doing whatever he can, and then you see him move off of the track that he was on as
Okay.
the train is
Everybody
quickly.
grab your ankles.
Everybody
All
move.
right, Theo's gonna yell at the people that are still moving in the train car to get out of the way if they can.
And they can hear, now the approaching vehicle, and
Yeah,
you watch
yeah.
as a bunch like step as the dozens of people who are out of the train car are like scrambling away as fast as they can. There's others who are like climbing out of the windows and trying to like get away as quickly as possible. Pen, I need you to roll me some percentile dice.
Oh no.
Progress.
Da, da, da. Da, da. 71.
71. All right. So, Rinningham, you were the one paying attention the most to this. Roll me a perception check.
Perception is gonna be. I'm using actual dice, and I don't trust this technology. Screwing
Really?
me.
It
It's
was.
been screwing me actively.
I mean, remember last time we had 5 nat 1s and 4 nat 20s, so
So let's think about this. You said a perception check. Now let's imagine the concept of a 1 to a 20. Why would we value the higher number as more valuable?
oh no.
Rinningham, what did you roll?
It was single digits. Greater than 3. No. Without a modifier greater than 3. But less than 5.
Wait, what's your modifier?
-1.
Okay.
So that's a southern hemisphere 3. But luckily, where we all are, right, is the northern hemisphere. So that's the inverse of 3, which is like what, a 17 probably.
I'm sure that's how it works.
Are we introducing complicated math?
Yeah, what is this? So
It was a 3. I rolled a 3. It was a 3.
you rolled a 3.
It was a 3.
Okay. I needed this.
Oh, Oh no!
You I mean, you're on Theo's back, and Theo has gotten off the tracks, and you're just looking at this train. As far as you can tell, it hasn't slowed down any.
Nah. Full bore.
Oh,
Coming in full bore. However, that might just be due to the blind panic of having literally just gotten off the track, but a few seconds before it whizzes past, and you can now hear the screeching as it was trying to engage its brakes. And it slides along, and now goes from the set of rails that it was on onto the next set and starts to roll like the previous one did. And as it does, its side of it rolls against the wheels of the other one as it slides past it, and then lays on its side and rolls off the track more gracefully than the previous one did, as this train
Well, at least they're
appears to
slowing
have.
down. Ish.
That's progress.
Chlor's efforts to get their attention may have been a little bit more effective this time around.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, when Theo sees that, he's gonna be like, "All right, buddy, good job." Woof.
We're at the group with the people in the car. Is that right?
Yes,
Here's
you
an
basically,
idea.
as this happens, you guys are now approaching where there was people.
Okay, here's an idea. Bear with me. It's going to be terrible, but bear with me. Did we take note of where the brakes engaged? I'm pretty sure we got a good idea where we started hearing the screeching sound, right?
Chlor would be
I
the
rolled a
best person to
3.
ask, who is quite a ways away from you all.
Yeah.
Okay. If we were to take a couple of these bodies laying around, drag them down the track, and go past the point where the screeching started and lay them across the track, that would panic the conductor enough to hit the brakes and possibly avert catastrophe.
Is anybody
Or-
driving these trains? Has anybody asked if anybody's driving them?
Can
Well,
we
somebody
spell
has
the
to, they're
word
applying
break with the
brakes.
bodies? So as they go by, it's like slow, you know?
It was
Like a
Probably
yield
bodies
sign.
up with
cushion
like
there.
little signs that say like "stop."
Make like an upside down
You
triangle
create a
that
lot of
says
friction.
caution.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like
Literal
it's like in
skull
the
and
gamers
crossbones.
Darkness Rising, like the pile of barred bodies forming a block.
I think a
Against enemy
300
attack.
when they build a literal wall with bodies and stones.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
nearly there.
I mean, or, and hear me out, we could go and make sure that the people get out of that train car and whoever's left in the other train car first, and see if they got a way to communicate. Let's try that
Should-
before we
should
try
we
stocking
ask-
dead bodies
okay.
up.
Who is who? Okay, so let's just ask the damn group that's right here. Who is driving this thing?
And
Let's
there's
investigate.
a cacophony of people who are all just kind of talking to each other, trying to pull more people out of the cars because the car got shifted after the one was like leaning against the wheels. And they're not really paying much mind to you guys as they're trying more to get their friends out and trying to pry the doors open to be able to like get away from the track.
I'm inclined to agree, DM. Is there any way that I can assist with opening a door? I do have a shovel.
There is a door that they are trying to use, their picks and tools to try to wedge open. If you'd like to join in, you are more than
Theo
welcome
would
to.
like to help. He's got a shovel and knows how to use it.
All right, give
Hopefully.
me a. We're gonna say make an athletics check.
All right. That is a 15.
So you watch as Theo runs up, shovel in hand. Renningham, you're still on Theo's back. So Theo just like reaches beside into the pack, like right in front of you, just like clucks you in the head with the handle of the shovel, and just
Sorry.
jams
Sorry,
it
pal.
into the door, as these other guys have been like trying to do so, and just pushes, and just you watch it pop open, and there's like 4 or 5 people like trying to clamber out because now it's the door sideways, so they're like just trying to clamber out. There's people on top of them and just trying to move. And Theo, you can see plainly inside that while there appears to be some shaken and some wounded, it's not a bloodbath.
I'm
Okay,
shaking. Is there any stirred?
No, that's the other two
Literally
cars.
shaking and crying right now.
Right. So putting the shovel down, he's gonna say, Rin, you can hop off if you want to. I mean, I think what I want to do is I want to help make sure these people get out of here. I figure if there's gonna be a radio in one of these places, it'll either be in this one or the
Radio?
next one that'll
Radio?
still be working.
There's a radio?
Some
What is a radio?
way to communicate, right? That's
Oh,
what
okay.
Chlor was talking about way back there.
Oh, okay.
He
Okay.
said they had to have some way to talk, possibly to.
Oh, it was just a new word. It threw me off. Sorry.
It's a new word for me too. I ain't never heard that word before.
All right, so Theo is gonna keep working on, I guess, helping people. Renningham, what do you do?
I am actually gonna look to see I'm gonna go towards the head of the car to see how it's operated and to see if anyone's up there like in charge of the thing.
So are you like climbing back? Are you climbing into it, or are you like climbing along the side of it and looking through the windows? Like, how are you kind of going at it?
Yeah, climbing. I don't want to get in there. I'm climbing along the side, on the
Okay.
round the outside, round the outside.
All right. So as you're looking in, you can see that both the head and tail of these cars looks about the same. Seeing as they come into the station and then fire back off in the opposite direction.
Sounds like an old girlfriend of mine.
Nice. Anyway, at the head and tail of these trains, you can kind of make out where there are some gauges and some levers. However, none of it's labeled in a way that you really fully understand. But there do appear to be some mechanisms in place to interact with at either end.
Are they just like dials, or is there lights behind them? Like, how are they?
Currently, there are no.
Active?
Currently, there doesn't appear to be any sort of activity. The lights that are inside appear to be like oil or like they're burning fluid. There are some other glass domes that you can see that aren't lit. And there is a large metal lever at either side of these trains.
Didn't each of these hey Ren, you think maybe we can find the person that was supposed to maybe be kind of minding this? I mean, if it breaks, someone had to be responsible, right?
Yeah. So looking into the car, is anyone wearing like a uniform?
Give me an investigation check. You're kind of you're searching for a particular person.
Suss it out a little.
Yeah.
Investigation. Okay. I don't find out. That's a natural one.
That's a natural one.
But it's a +2.
Okay. So it's a whopping 3.
We're back at 3. But it is
Wow.
a natty.
So Renningham is enjoying his height. 3.
I'm sensing a theme.
So as you look around, as far as you can tell, you're just seeing like miners covered in dirt and soot and grime as they're just clambering over. Some of them have some blood.
Reflection in the window.
As I see my reflection. Ken and Bob, you guys are now approaching basically right from the rear behind everyone else. What are you guys doing? You just watched Theo gun up and rip a door open.
What you doing up there?
Who are you talking to?
Oh, Dren, sorry. If he's poking around in there, it's like, well, are we looking for survivors? What's going on? What are we doing?
Well, I'm not inside the car. I was going around the outside.
Oh, okay.
So I'm climbed up on the edge.
So
Yeah,
we're
he's
still
in.
going through the investigation process.
We're
Yes,
trying to
but you
figure
guys
out
can
who
see there's
runs
lots of
this
people.
thing.
Oh.
How'd they stop? Why'd they stop? How'd they know how to stop? What did they use to stop?
Excellent. If we could do that, then maybe we could find something that they would respond to intuitively, like a dead body on the tracks.
I'm sure they have some kind of training.
Do that?
Training on a train?
Training.
Just for reference, the train car that just kind of joined is probably another 60 feet down on its side, and people are starting to clamber out of that. And this one appears to be even more intact. They were able to open the doors more easily. People are just climbing out every orifice of the metal canister.
Are there people near me?
As you're approaching, there's people all around, but they appear to be mostly preoccupied with, helping out their friends.
So, I see more people kind of getting out of the one that was more easily stopped, and they're just kind of clambering, just kind of looking around. I want to walk up to them and say, "All right, everybody, I'm going to need us all to form an orderly line. You've just been in a train accident. I want everybody to remain calm. We're going to move off to the side. Let's move away from the trains. I want you to follow. My friend Theo over here is going to check y'all out. They're going to direct you over to Penn. Penn's going to make sure that you're nothing's injured, nothing's broken. We're going to move we need help to organize the people to move the dead off to the side, and we need to create a pyre. We need to burn these bodies because oh man, they could all get sick, and nobody wants to get sick. The bacteria loves dead bodies. We move them off to the side."
Oh my God!
And
FEMA's on
waves
the
his
scene.
hands dramatically to express where he is. But help, wounded over here, wounded this way. Bring the wounded. If you're well enough to move.
Renningham, roll me a persuasion check.
Oh gosh.
I feel like somebody should say, "Bring out your wounded."
Bring out your wounded.
Say 14.
Hey.
Hey, there you go.
I rolled a 7.
There's this guy standing on top. He's now, shouting out out to where all the people are, and they all turn and start listening in, and they're like, "Oh, yeah." And you see as, they start shuffling and moving, making lines and moving people away from the tracks. And Penn, coming in your direction, there are now some people you can see who are limping, some who are like holding rags and stuff to their head, and there's blood kind of on their face from, the milder of impacts when it came to, what you've seen prior.
Oh, so it's time to do triage.
That's what we're doing. I grabbed Bob. All right, we're doing triage. The ones that look like they're about to die in one section, the ones who are clearly in pain but survivable will go in one, ones with minors go in another.
The ones who are minorly wounded, let's check, see if any of them have any type of medical or herbalistic or religious background where they can
Anyone
lend aid
is
to
healing
less wounded.
inclined, please identify yourself.
Yes.
If you are medically healing, useful, and caring inclined, please identify yourself.
Are there any doctors on this train?
A rather large
Barbers.
human, and he has like kind of like a buzz cut kind of going on, and he appears to be quite strong. He's just walks right up to you. "I'm good at setting bones."
Great. You can sit over here with the middle people.
All right, if you're good at setting bones, you're going to need like splint materials. What do you need? I'll round it up.
I don't know about splint. I just know how to set bone.
Okay.
Well, I can do the splint if you can set the bone.
There's a guy who's actually like limping, and his leg appears to be quite hurt.
Let's keep an eye on this bone setter guy. He may actually be good at bone setting, or he may just actually like hearing people scream. I don't know which.
We'll find out.
While that's going on, Theo just calls out, "As a reminder, we do have a bit of a time crunch too, so let's make sure that where we're setting up and we keep evacuating the people as much as we can, getting them away from the rest of these trains."
The impact zone.
Exactly.
Way off in the distance, I guess Renningham is probably the only one who can really see him.
I was gonna say, after hearing,
there's a dark figure, kind of way off in the distance. Like you can see, just running all the way to the left, running all the way to the right, running all the way to the left, running all the way to the right. As Clore,
so cool.
Continues to like feel the tracks and try to figure out if there's another train coming.
Wait, help me with this mental picture because I'm less good at picturing the descriptions in the moment. I'm better with visual aids. Are the trains? They're all running the same directions, right?
They've all been coming the same direction. Because normally, if you remember back to when you were at the station, a train would come in, and then it would load up, and then it would rocket back out.
Okay. So they're all on the same. Well, there's a bunch of sets of tracks, but they're all going like east west or north south or some.
Yeah, they're all going east west. Yeah. In this case, they're all coming east. Every train so far that has derailed has been coming east. There hasn't been another one going west on this track. On the opposite side, there was one that went west right after the event happened, but there hasn't been another one.
And that was the first one that derailed, right?
No, this would be the other track on the opposite side, the one that's not damaged.
Okay, so Penn also then, while we're doing triage, is trying to the people who are clearly less wounded, minorly wounded, the ones who do not need medical protection, besides like maybe you need a band-aid later or you're gonna have some bruising. He starts trying to convince them, okay, so here are where they're coming from. We need to start moving the mass. If you can help carry people that are clearly severely wounded away from the wreckage, we need to start moving people away from the wreckage, like north of this or south of this. Don't care which, away from where the.
In this case, you'd be moving south of this.
Great.
So, yeah. Basically move away from the tracks. Yeah. So as you're talking about this, the people who are more able-bodied, like, just start kind of dragging their friends further away and still trying to kind of sort of keep the grouping as far as they can tell of who's more or less wounded. You're still dealing with mostly just piles of people, like, just kind of grouped together. Some look to be worse off than others. Some people are definitely in the wrong spot because, he's got, oh, my wrist, as opposed to a guy who's got, like, blood gushing out of his head. I guess since Bob and Penn are handling this, I want a heal check from each of you.
Heal.
Oh, hi guys, you got this.
Heal check.
Yep.
Oh, you're
What do you mean a heal check?
It's a medicine check. Sorry, heal check, medicine check. I'm thinking back to its heal in Pathfinder.
That's 20.
Ooh.
Nice, modified 20. All right.
I
And
got
a modified 19. All right. Well, so
Well, everything that we didn't do right with our previous guest,
Make
we
it up for
clearly
me.
learned exponentially from that experience.
yeah,
It's 'cause
you're
you have an
basically
audience this time. You can't afford not to be ethical.
We've got to look like we know what we're doing.
Exactly.
So as you guys are going along, you're like just kind of group pushing the people like, hey, you need to move over there. You're more wounded, and you're like they're moving further away from the tracks, and those who are less wounded, you're just like, hey, dude, just
Grab
you're
this
gonna have to
person
walk
and
it
help
off.
them.
Yeah, like I understand that your ankle hurts, but it's not broken. Keep moving. Like and there appears to be a rough semblance. Now, some of those who are severely wounded, they do appear to have some majorly broken bones. Some people who are having a hard time moving in general, they're having to be carried. And Mr. Bonesetter walks up to a guy who you can see his leg is not in a good shape, and he basically grabs the guy by his hip, and you realize his hand can wrap entirely around the hip, and he grabs the knee and just pops the femur back into place. And the guy screams, and then, I could use splint.
And then he passes out. Well, it sounds like he actually
Pen runs
knows
over
what
to
he's
wrap
doing.
it up quickly.
There's plenty of
Brutal.
shrapnel and other things that are straight enough for you to kind of set up, and you watch as bone setting guy just kind of finds people who are like, oh, that's an arm. He can kind of pop that one straight, and he's not
So
gentle.
Pen just follows him along, just like tying up these bones as we go. And then
Yeah.
finding an able-bodied person and be like, congratulations, you're their butter. Take them away.
Also, we need to find like 2 or 3 able-bodied persons and assign them the responsibility of tracking down something to create a tarp to protect these folks from sunlight, fabrics, sticks and basically task them with gathering raw materials, scavenging off of the crashed vehicles.
All right. Give me, since you're coming up with this, and as you're going about it, give me a persuasion check. Persuasion. There's no raw diplomacy in this. It's usually persuasion or intimidation or deception. So you're really more just trying to command an audience. I could just do a straight charisma check, but
I'm moderately convincing.
What was your roll?
13.
13.
All right. Yeah, so you see a couple people who just kind of look at you and like, uh-huh. And some of them start going back into the train car, and you see them coming out with different tools and implements, and they start actually tearing pieces off of the train car. And you can see that
Good.
there's large strips of metal that they're able to then like try to stand up, and some of them are taking off their the tops of their shirts and stuff like that, and trying to start draping them in a way that may create a bit of a shaded surface, and tying the sleeves and stuff together. It's
We're good
nighttime,
at
so it's
that.
gonna be a while before the sun rises, but they're you can see that they're not stupid when it comes to trying to come up with something once you've given them a direction to do it.
Cool. Plus, it'll keep them occupied and out of trouble.
Hey,
yeah.
Ren, how we doing on trying to figure out any way to talk to folks?
Yeah, so did I, in my investigation of the front and the back that look similar, the big levers and stuff, was there any like talk box? Did it look like there was any way? And is there active sound coming out of anything?
There is no active sound. There's things that look like they may be lights or light up, but they're not currently lit.
Can I identify what makes the car go forward and backwards?
Yeah, give me
Like, is there a big lever that says go?
give me an investigation check again, as you're now intently like you're now inside the car. There's no way you're going to be able to do this without crawling inside of it.
How about 8?
Unfortunately, you're realizing that you have spent way too much time dealing with people and not enough time dealing with anything mechanical, because this is... You're sure if you were in a pinch, you could just pull levers and stuff and maybe figure something out, but this is kind of beyond you to just look at.
So you're saying I could just start pulling levers?
Well, the train car is not moving.
Is the train car on? This one isn't on the tracks, right?
No, they're both off the track. All of them are off the track.
I just start pulling levers then. I'm like, this one looks good. Yank it.
Give me a strength check.
What?
A strength check. Oh, just
Strength check. Yep.
5.
You can't even squeeze the handle on this.
Is there a smaller lever?
There are some dials.
I twist. I just start kind of fiddling.
As you do, you can kind of hear like metal creaking slightly. It's very faint, and then you hear a loud psss from outside, and you hear a bunch of people outside go "Whoa!" and then it dies off like a couple seconds later.
Does that happen repeatedly?
Nope.
Ah, just the once. Just a one-off.
Just a one-off.
We've all been there. So, are there switches? So we have levers. We've established there's levers. There's dials. Are there switches? Are there buttons?
There are some switches.
Flipping switches.
Nothing happens.
Buttons?
There are no buttons.
Are there panels? Doors? Beneath?
There is a section beneath where all these levers and stuff are, where there's a panel that's kind of screwed in place, bolted in place.
Ooh. It's a bolted in place. Are there any tools to undo bolts in this cabin?
I mean,
Anything
there
on
was
the
people who
floor?
just started pulling out tools all from inside and started ripping apart parts of the outside of the train car. So there's some people with some tools.
I'm just gonna go grab a tool. Do I see somebody with the tool that I need?
Yes. You see someone with a wrench that you think might be the right size.
It's an Allen wrench from IKEA.
Ah, perfect. It's not standard size at all, neither imperial or metric.
Yeah. And one side will fit perfectly. The other side's just a little bit loose.
Exactly.
So yeah, are they actively using it, or kind of just?
I mean, you can try talking to them. They are actively pulling pieces off, and they're looking for large strips of metal. You can see that they're like going along the seams of, where some of the metal meets, and pulling out the long strips.
Okay. I'm just gonna call out and say, "Hey, you right there, pull up the metal strips. There's some better metal in here, in the the front of the car that we probably need to get behind and check out because there could be some like wiring we could use to kind of tie all these panels together and create some kind of more of a flexible barrier in case we need, it starts raining or something."
That's convincing.
Well, all right. And he just kind of chucks one of the wrenches that he has down to you, and you can hear him rummaging for another tool as he's now much more slowly with some pliers going about loosening up what he was working on. He just tosses you a wrench.
Sure, I'll take a wrench. I'll try to take it back. Start twisting.
Give me another strength check. You 3.5-foot tall little Verdun.
Strength check. 10.
Takes you a second, and you actually have to like lift yourself up a little bit, and it pops, and then it starts to spin more freely. And the other ones come out as well. And as you pull the panel off, you can now see that there are all sorts of, basically piping, and they have more dials and valves attached to them, and there appears to be some metal wiring or coated wiring behind there. It's colored. There appears to be some sort of color coding, but there's no labels or anything.
Are there differing thicknesses based on color?
There doesn't appear to be a necessarily uniform. Like, not all the greenish ones are the same. Not all the bluish ones are the same. Not all the reddish.
Interesting. Okay. So, well, and I guess I can't notice. What I want to do is I want to go to the other car. I want to twist the dial that made the psst noise, but I want to, as I go by, I'm going to tell Theo, I want you to be on the lookout for someone that's not surprised by this. And I just head off and to twist the dial and see who's not surprised by the psst after you. Because I figure the person that's not going to be surprised by it is probably pretty experienced with it, knows that it's something the train car can do. I mean, they can all kind of know right now, but maybe the first time they were just like, oh, maybe something because of the trash, because of the crash. We don't know.
So Renningham just kind of like clambers out of this train car and up to the next one. And Theo, you've just been helping like haul people out, or as and just helping people move along. And hey, if you need medical, go over there. And yeah, Rinningham's just like shouting as he climbs in, and he turns the dial. Theo, are you trying to pay attention for him?
You know what? Yeah, Ren knows better than Theo what should happen here. Ren's got more experience with this stuff, presumably, than Theo, right? I mean,
All right, Theo, give me a perception check as you're looking for the one person who isn't startled in a group of what is now proving to be a couple hundred people.
Just if you notice one. There could be more than one.
What was that? I don't think it. There we go. It was slow. 18.
So looking around, a bunch of people do kind of like, huh, again, as the other car, psst. Although you see a guy whose uniform is a little cleaner than the rest. He is still wearing much of his hat, but it looks to be some sort of like half orc.
So there were guys in uniform.
Hey,
well, they're all wearing uniforms and stuff. They're all, but his just slightly cleaner. They're all in.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. The tall half orc gentleman. Could you please come here for a second, please?
And he turns over in the direction that he hears the voice, and he looks at you up and down, and what do you want?
Well, you see, my friends and I guess we had a question. You seem to be mighty familiar with these train cars, correct?
Yeah. Do you have questions?
Right.
We have questions. How did this happen?
To be honest, I'm trying to figure that out too. Right now, my concern more is that there is going to be another train coming at some point. So I got to know, sir, is there a way to communicate with the groups on either side to let them know that something bad has happened?
If we're on the tracks, we can.
If you're on the tracks. So how do you do it from the tracks?
I didn't design. I just know the buttons and lights don't work if the train's not on the track.
Huh.
All right. Okay. Hey, I know a lot of people are getting Rin, we got to get the train on the tracks. So,
What?
yeah, you guys heard me. We got to get a train back on the tracks if we want to make any sort of warning.
Theo,
Hmm.
you look back to the tracks and you're at the section of track that is the most mangled.
Yes, I know. This
Okay.
is going to be very difficult. Maybe
So-
your bone idea will work.
So you're telling me? So I hear Theo yell that the train needs to be on the tracks, and I say, does the train itself have to be on the tracks, or does the tracks have to be under the train?
Oh, that's a good point.
So then I call out to Theo, or not Theo, I call out to Penn, and I say, Penn, we need
Yeah.
some grafting.
All right, I need I need some bodies.
So I just kind of gesture at all the dead bodies, and I turn back
Well,
to the train track that's mangled. Right.
Mind you, Rinningham, most of the dead bodies are like way at the other ones that kind of careened off in the middle of nowhere.
Mm.
They're a bit of ways.
We
Don't
can
worry.
split into two groups, right? I mean, like,
There are bodies.
The way that I
Mhm.
figure, we got some able-bodied folk, right? So those who are capable of maybe at least turning
No,
this
no, no, no,
one
no. The
train.
able-bodied folk are getting the wounded folk still away from the crash. I don't think we have enough people to divide them up into help us move more dead bodies versus help your living friends get to safety.
Right, that's obviously the most important. But my thinking here is afterwards, we got to get this one train at least back on its whatever they are.
No, see here, Theo, that's where you're wrong. See, the train is in the perfect position for us because it's on its side, so its wheels are easily accessible. Now, if we can take the
So
piece of the track that's
train
mangled
on
but still connected to the good parts of the track, we can extend the track with the bone grafts to connect to the wheels on either side and create that connection to light up, to electrify this car and create that communication bridge that we need.
We're making a potato.
Oh,
We're
I
making
get
a
it.
light up potato.
I get it. I think I get it. All right,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. All right, you let me know what you need me to do, Penn, and Renningham and Bob, and I'm happy to help. I'll just keep helping people move in the meantime. But sir, you got to let us know which of the buttons it's gonna be. You got to be ready to use them, okay?
Hey, Penn, can you roll me an intelligence check?
To see if this will work.
What's intelligence?
It's just you roll the
Just
roll a 20
yeah, just
and
click
then
on the
use
intelligence. It'll just
modifier.
roll it. Yeah.
Sorry. I was like, I don't have an intelligence.
Yeah.
It can be challenging, I will admit.
Oh,
That was a custom. That was a
That's a
custom.
4.
That was a custom though. You didn't click the right. You gotta click the intelligence because you 4.
Let's see.
top of this.
I mean, they said they
PMing
had
you-
knowledge of bone grafting, metal.
Oh,
On
I see it. Never
bones.
mind. I found it.
Top of the screen.
Sorry. That's
Even better. One better.
A mighty 5.
Don't worry, I'm always pressing the wrong button also.
Are you
Yummy.
googling whether or not you can fail a bone graft? Because I think the
No. I'm PMing what the results of that check. Because Ken has some thoughts and decisions to possibly make.
Oh, great.
All right. So.
Oh.
The half orc looks at you, Theo, and is just like, "Why are you here?"
We were sent here to do 2 jobs, a couple jobs. There was a lady who wound up dead due to some sort of unknown creature a bit ago, and a painter who's gone missing. We're tracking them down. We were walking. Yeah, we were also looking for a cat too.
We were walking. Yeah, Theo, you're right. We were walking after the train crashed and we got off. We started walking and we were trying to see if anyone else had survived the crash.
We weren't on the train that crashed, though. We
Not
were
the
walking
not
along
the one that he
tracks.
was on. We were on one of the other trains. This is all
No,
new to
we
us
were
as
walking
well.
along the tracks trying to find the place we were supposed to go, and then we heard the noise from behind
after the
us.
crash, that's when we were walking.
And when we saw the crash, we tried to stop other things from crashing. And
Because we didn't want them to crash the way that we crashed.
I think one of our friends might have alerted you if you saw something bright.
We sent him
along the
ahead because
train.
he could alert. You're right. Yeah.
That was our buddy Clore trying to notify you. We also did the same thing with that other car over there, tried to get him to slow down. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do nothing for the one before it. So we're here on adventuring guild business, and unfortunately, this disaster occurred, and now we're just trying to lend whatever aid we can.
Yeah, we're all just trying to make it through this disaster together that we all experienced.
Our adventure has taken a direction we did not anticipate.
All right, I need
really
Rinningham to
rails.
throw or roll a bluff or deception check, and I need Theo to roll a persuasion check.
Oh, great!
So
As this half orc that can just look down at you, and clearly is a pseudo element of individual in charge.
That's an 11.
Let me do the math. 26.
Dang.
Well, I can tell you which one they believed.
Well, they were effectively working together just from two different angles, but
Yeah.
he looks at you both.
We were walking. That's exactly correct.
And then looks out at where you could see off in the distance, like the wreckage of the other two. And there's a degree of which you could tell he's shocked. Puny human, puny earth thing. But okay. I hope that we're able to solve this. And just kind of walks away and just starts like, you can hear him shouting orders of like reiterating what you guys had said and like get the wounded away and start building up some simple shelter, and people are clambering back into the other vehicle. They're pulling pieces of metal off and trying to build like a smallish hut because they're trying to get away from the track. A couple of the guys actually try to like grab onto the door frames and see if they can drag these train cars, and the hill helps them for the first few inches, and then it just kind of gets stuck into the sand and they can't really move it much further.
So how far is it from the track that's like not completely torn up?
It's quite a ways down before you can see that the track is less buckled and mangled. It's more like kind of warped and curved, as opposed to where you're at, where it just kind of like hit a point and just kind of picture what happens with like a gun blows out the end of its barrel, but imagine that sort of thing happening at the end of this train track, where it's like a ripple of energy came up and popped at the end.
Is it still connected though, like to the original track? It's just bent up out of shape.
It looks to be mostly connected.
Okay. And so then, how close is the car that they're dragging a car back?
They were trying to. It's based off the way it rolled and everything like that. You're probably the wheels are about 10 feet from the closest rail.
So it's like 10 femurs.
Maybe 10 of your femurs.
An average of 10.
All right, so Penn and Bob, what are you guys? What are you guys figuring out?
Technically, we're still triaging.
Yeah, we're busy looking at wounded and have we I assume that we've heard the idea that somehow or another we need to get one of these train cars back on the tracks,
or the tracks to the train car, as Ren put it.
Yeah,
we have plenty of other trains. Why not use the metal from them?
Plus, I'm kind of lazy. Wouldn't it be easier to try the dead body approach, to stop one and keep it on the track so that we don't have to try to pick one up and put it back on?
Not against it.
I mean,
I'm just picturing these poor miners. All
It's
of a
the
sudden, like
trolley
all the
problem all over
able-bodied
They're
again.
ones.
traumatized. They're not gonna remember any of this. It's gonna be blocked out, and they'll pretty soon they'll be like really fuzzy over the. I've seen plenty of trauma.
Those of you that
They're
are
not gonna remember the
capable
details.
of independent motion, go ahead and pick up one of your dead friends and walk them over to the tracks for us, will you?
They're not
say
friends.
that
They're
they were
Grab it.
coworkers.
Go grab another.
you
Keep it
know,
going.
at some point, I suspect that we might have a neuromancer, not a neuromancer, necromancer. Wrong. Sorry, I'm doing my my cyberpunk
Cyberpunk.
thing.
Yeah.
But a necromancer that could just reanimate the dead, and we could have them put it back on the tracks. That would be really handy right now.
Pen rolls his eyes dramatically and says nothing.
That's not how any of this works.
The dead bodies could walk themselves down the track, and then whenever they get out of range or whenever they're done with their animation, they just fall off the
You think
tracks.
that Pen hasn't like wished for that? You think Pen hasn't been like approaching this whole scenario like, damn, if only I could.
Mm.
I could be the hero.
Yeah,
I'm just
unfortunately,
2 levels away.
So, I need Renningham to roll a perception check. Actually, no, you're still in the car, train car. Theo, roll a perception check, not Renningham.
All right. Well, let's do this. It's a +4, so don't. It's a 6.
With a +4.
As you're, trying to look around, and you realize it's been a minute since you've seen any bright lights in the sky, but just as you head or turn to look down towards where Chlor was, another hand like reaches out of the window that you've been helping pull people out of, and you're just like, oh shit, let me get them, and you're just you're too busy.
Yep.
Yeah, as everyone's busy working on their stuff. I'm gonna say now we can go back to Renningham. Renningham, give me a. Guess it would technically be a nature check.
Nature. That's an 8. Straight up +0.
I'm gonna say it's close enough. You realize it has been longer than it should be for another train to have come at this point.
Oh, good.
Okay.
And it's you realize it's been a little longer. You would have expected another at this point with the amount of work that you guys have done. You would have expected another one to have made its way to you, and it hasn't.
Okay. That's great news.
Like
Do with that what you will.
Yeah, no, I mean,
All right. So is the current plan? Is that what you guys are trying to do? Is figure out a way to get the rails connected to the train car? Is that still what you guys are pursuing? All right. Who's heading that? Who's heading that up?
well, to Penn's point, I think I'm using my trusty wrench to undo some pieces of metal to try and use them to connect the existing rails to the train car that's closest.
Theo's happy to do some breaking down if you need him to.
Yeah, and you need to bend these. I'm getting sheets of metal, I assume. You need to bend these sheets into more of a tubular form and then kind of slide them down the rail as the interlocking pieces.
Like a water pipe. Bend them into like a water pipe.
Exactly like a water pipe.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense.
Brittingham, I'd love for you to roll a strength check for this.
How about a 14?
Hey.
I'm just imbued with adrenaline.
Take this sheet of metal that you've pulled off the side, and you realize that it's, almost as tall as you, laying short ways, and then long ways, it's definitely taller than you, and you are putting as much effort as you can, and while you're able to kind of get it to bend, you don't weigh enough to put the pressure on it to actually roll it, as this metal appears to be rather, lightweight, but thick.
Thick.
How many more
3 C's.
people are we triaging?
Thousands.
Give me a perception check. Or a how much you care check. Let's be honest.
Zero.
You're not wrong.
Okay. So you see that you've made your way through probably about 2/3 of all the people that have been coming out. However, most of them seem to be organizing themselves into the groups, and they're trying to they're looking at Mr. Bonesetter, who's just, again, he just walks up to people and sees that they're in a dire strait, and he just grabs, hey, that's a joint, yank, and pops things into place, and everyone else is has looked at you, and and they're very crudely binding, as he just moves along, because he's much quicker at popping the legs into place and arms back into place. However, I do want you to roll me some percentile dice. Okay.
23.
There's been, 1 or 2 people that he just kind of walked up to them and saw that they weren't being able to move, and they were talking about the pain being more in their back, and has grabbed them by their shoulders and their hips and tried to pop that back into place. One of those folks is really not doing so hot.
Some disastrous effects.
Heart is still beating. However, they are not conscious.
Yeah, maybe we should put a stop to that.
Oh no.
I mean, I can stop it. I can end it. I can permanently end it.
We're not worried about the euthanasia.
There's so many euthanasia, dude.
There's so many.
I mean, if he's unconscious and nobody else can tell his heart is beating, I can put him out of his suffering.
You meant in the guy. I thought you meant in the guy that's paralyzing people.
No.
He's just making vegetables for your stew. I get it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. This group, I swear.
Oh, you guys are terrible. I love it.
Don't say this group like I'm there.
You're making the commentary.
There's an edge. How close to it can we get? Oh, that close.
So, Pen, what are you doing?
So he's not doing too hot. Like definitely not doing too hot. Like on the
Definitely not doing too hot. Unconscious. Stop moving. Still has a heartbeat.
Sweats, the whole 9 yards.
People are kind of panicky, but Bonesetter has just moved on to the next person. He's fine with femurs and arms, and even reset the one guy's nose and pop that back into place.
I'm thinking that perhaps the best course of action would be to talk to Mr. Bonesetter and say, hey, let's limit it to these parameters and leave these other parameters alone.
Yeah, Penn will leave that to someone else to bother. He's not going to direct Mr. Bonesetter. The dude's doing his own work. He's got his own calling. Clearly, he's doing great.
You got to yell at us so somebody knows to go over there.
So Penn's gonna make a show of attending immediately to this person who is unconscious and not doing so well.
Okay.
And maybe use their cloak and billow it out a little bit as they, lean over their neck and help them feel better permanently.
Not in any more pain.
What are you doing? A medicine check? Is that
A
what you're doing?
strangulation check?
I was just gonna say, is it a strength check? I'm trying to crack his neck.
For the strength of the medicine, it's a strength check.
Is it a? I mean, it's still. It would probably still be a medicine check technically. It's, you know.
Negative
Can
medicine?
Penn find the exact place to subtly crack their neck without causing too much disturbance?
Does a chiropractor need to know chemistry?
I'm gonna say, Penn, you're gonna need to do two checks. The first is a medicine check, and then based on that, there's also going to be a sleight of hand check.
This reminds me of tort law in the worst way.
So that was a 10 on the medicine check.
Okay, and give me the sleight of hand check.
That was a 23.
Oh, we can still be heroes. Cool.
So everyone is kind of watching as you drape over, and it's like there's some dramatic flair. Like picture like Severus Snape when he was just like, I need to deal with this, and you're just like, let's do this, and you're like feeling along his neck, and everyone's like, oh wow, like watching as you're trying to fix what happened to this guy, and as you're tilting the head to try to like set it back into place, you really just kind of overset it, and it's a distinct pop, and people just assume that you were trying to do what Bonesetter guy was doing, and
you're just not as good as Bonesetter.
No.
And
no.
It distinctly broke.
So how much XP?
Penn makes a little bit of a show. Wait, what did you say?
How much XP?
Yes, I'm sorry, DM. How much XP do I get for this stuff?
I know we're doing milestones.
Is
but
Penn
like,
getting
come on.
XP for all of
wait.
the dead here? Is my question.
Hold on. Like, okay, sidebar. But like, if Doug was actually calculating my total experience gain from this absolute massacre that I have concocted.
I think I sent that to you. I actually did calculate it at one point.
If a lumberjack fells a tree, does he get the XP for the deer it lands on?
Yeah, probably.
Well, okay, I can't find it. Let's just say that you would single-handedly jump well ahead of the rest of the party. Anyway.
Experiment. Anyway, so Penn makes this show of kind of like, he puts on a great facade of, feeling saddened by his inability to save this person. But he eases everybody else by saying, it's okay though, he's not in pain anymore. It's all right. He's feeling better wherever he is.
So,
and that's not a bluff.
Doesn't mean
It's true.
Was this like a CR1 NPC?
CR 1/4, if that.
Are you about to do the math, Jim?
No. I'm just thinking about it, like in terms of XP.
Okay. No. I'm not gonna tell you what the CRs of any of these people that you've been interacting with are, and we're just gonna, because it doesn't actually matter. Doesn't actually matter.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was just, the whole prospect of, wait a minute, this does count for experience points. I was just contemplating that whole idea.
That's how you get murder hobos, and we don't want murder hobos here.
Well, we seem to have one.
If we were doing
I
raw
don't want
XP,
murder hobos here. I don't know what you want.
If we were doing raw XP, Penn would be approaching level 5 right now.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Don't underestimate the power of an experiment.
Well, if Penn were level 5, then we could animate the dead and put this thing back on the track. That would be awesome.
Can we?
I'm just glad that that's not how we decided to do this campaign. And so,
the math would be horrible. trying to keep up with it, if nothing else. I mean, just the sheer logistics.
Yeah.
Moral quandaries aside, it's the logistics that's keeping us.
I studied at Halliburton U. What can I say?
All right.
Anyway. Yes, Pen, you have successfully facilitated the permanent pain relief.
Great. So Bonebreaker is still going around setting and missing sometimes. But the people
this just happened to be the one who was looking the worst with that.
The people who are at least moving out of the way, is the other group from the most recent wreck at least taking a hint and following the group that should be looking like an amoeba at this point of going somewhere away from danger?
Yeah, so from what you can tell, like when I gave you that number of like 60%-ish of people, that was including from the other car.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because they didn't go much further than you guys had. Like it was only like 200 something feet, 150, 200 feet, and they started making their way over it. And it appears there's a lot less wounded. Like their fall from the tracks was a lot more graceful than the previous one and ones before that. The half orc is kind of sort of like, giving lots of direction on like basically taking what you've told them to do, Bob, with setting up some rough shelter, going ahead and being like, oh, you can't, that's just gonna fall right over, blah blah blah, like going up and like pushing on one of the metal posts and like actually having it fall over and be like, just. But you've also noticed he's the only like half orc, and everyone just seems to be kind of listening to him on whatever he says.
Cool. He's taking a leadership role. That's a plus.
All right. Theo, you were tasked from Rinningham with, facilitating the rolling of metal pipes. Can you give me a strength check?
All right. A strength check.
Right in your wheelhouse.
What did I do? There we go. Not today, apparently. That's a 9.
You take one of these sheets, and you can just feel it, like, flexing as you try to roll it, and you're realizing that this might just be too big for what you're trying to do with it.
Let's see. Practical solutions. Is there something sort of round that Theo could use to try to, like, maybe get someone else over there to, like, hold it and then push on the other half to try to curb it, rather than trying to do it all on his own?
The closest thing to that description would be to actually like use like the open edge of the open doorway as like a thing to kind of. Yeah, that's probably your best bet.
All right.
It's a metal frame.
Yeah. Okay. Theo's gonna take a moment. He's gonna think about it. He's gonna kind of like look around. He's gonna be like, oh, "It's better than nothing, right? I mean, me trying to bend it on my own ain't really working." So he'd like to try to see if he can use the door as like a tool to try to make it work.
A fulcrum.
Theo!
What?
Why are we bending large metal pieces? And as I'm saying this, I start walking towards one of the other train cars that is already tipped over, like further away, not the one that we're trying to get connected to. And I say,
sitting here like this on the door when this is happening.
There's already so many pieces. There's already so many wires. The metal is thin. It's small. We just rip the wiring out of one of these other train cars and just link it together and use it that way.
I also got a question here too. Does it really have to bend around the thing, or can we just set it on? Would it connect that way?
Could potentially just set it on. Didn't even think of that. Look at you.
I was just going to say it. My touch spells work by touch. If this is some type of touch magic, that would work.
Just don't touch it.
Right. We don't touch it, but we get it to touch the other stuff that's touching.
Yes.
Let's just have everybody hold hands.
Oh my god!
What are you doing? A dance party?
Wait, I have a new goal. What if we just take all the hands, because everybody's got two, and we can make a helping hand chain?
Oh my gosh.
We
Like
just
one of
lay
those
them all
paper
out, and they
chains
can
you
hold
make for
hands
Christmas
and
where
reconnect.
it's like a loop. and
We just
loop and
use
loop.
one dead body to set everything down as
We're
the
all holding
instrument.
Just
hands.
one. You just lay them out, and you just make them hold hands. Rigor mortis hasn't set in yet.
You're back to a person bridge. We moved away
Alright,
from
okay.
using femurs.
All right, so maybe we
With a
try this.
whole
Maybe
body,
we,
maybe.
instead of trying to bend things, because that is going to prove kind of tough, buddy. You are absolutely right. Maybe we just try connecting the metal to, the part of the track that's still working, and connect it piece by piece to the wheels. It's worth a shot,
I
right?
see no problem with this plan.
I mean, I'm not even here.
I can use mage. I can handle pushing the last piece into place.
You can handle it.
I guess we could put like a human hand on a stick. And like
Just poke it. Just poke it.
a humanoid
Use the
hand.
other end of the shovel, the wooden end of the shovel, to nudge
There it
things
is.
into.
Yeah, we'll figure it. Just don't fit the last piece in by a live hand.
Gotcha. That could work. I think that'd be easier than trying to bend metal, right? I mean, all we have to do is just rip it off. Simple enough.
That's the new plan.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, Pen, give me a perception check.
Come here, mouse. 20.
Ooh.
You're the first to notice it, but as it gets higher in the sky, other people start to look as well. As you see a bright white light just kind of up higher and higher and higher and higher from the west. And then a couple of seconds later, you see one kind of behind it, further off to the west. And then a couple seconds later, there's kind of a brighter one off to the east in the direction of the city. And they go up and they twinkle there for a couple seconds before they go out. And then a couple seconds later, there's another, all three kind of almost in unison go out. And
It's like Fire Night.
a humanoid figure is approaching from the west. A very tired, a very sweaty Clor.
Yes. Althea's going to get very excited about that. He's going to see him and he's going to pause and try to rip a piece of metal off of the train car. He's going to say, Clor, good job, buddy. You did it. You managed to alert another train car. I'm
There's
buying
no-
you a drink when we get back to town.
There's not
You're
been
the
rumbling
hero.
for a while. I ain't gonna go. I ain't gonna
You
lay
don't
down.
look so good, buddy. You gotta sit down.
And Clor doesn't pay any mind to how like the bodies are kind of grouped together for the medics. He just kind of finds the closest one where there's just people just laying down, and he just like lays down with them.
Oh, poor Clor.
He's fine.
Well, it must have been really tough for him. He did a very good job of watching for us, and he managed to, make the fourth one kind of slow down pretty well. I see.
And the half orc, seeing these lights, starts to call out like, "They're aware. They know we're here."
Oh, good. All right. So maybe we can not mess with the train car anymore. Just maybe set up a fire and settle in and wait for rescue.
How are you guys?
At this
No
point,
more trains are coming.
Perhaps we should start scavenging for water and other immediate survival needs while making these folks as comfortable as possible.
I think I can help
we
with
just
that.
raid the train cars now that we know it's safe.
That's true. You can raid the train cars.
I think the word we want to use is pillage.
Plunder.
Pilfer?
Scavenge.
And would you like to stop your medic's duties and go off and start rummaging through?
How many more people look like they could use some assistance?
there's a degree of which people have just kind of been starting to just call you over based off of how they feel or how they think their friend is doing, and less of, hey, there's very obviously these people are in need, because they're trying to help each other, in which case there's like piles of people just around each other. You know, anyone who thinks of something to do something medical, because there's, you know, one of you and dozens of them.
I'll probably stay with the people that are still asking me to help.
Okay.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to transition my role from medical in nature to more spiritual in nature, going through and doing the blessings and, you know, anybody who needs to do the prayer stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, after I get done with each one, as I move to the next, I'll be muttering under my breath, you know, if you'd just lived in nature, none of this would have happened.
They all kind of, you know, nod, and some of them are very wide-eyed because you can tell they're still kind of shell-shocked by the whole situation. Yeah, it's only been a few minutes, but they're just,
This is
they're
what you
not.
get for going with Gond. Oh,
Oh boy.
Grand
Gond.
with the wind.
No, Gond. In AD&D, he was the god of mechanics and science and stuff. Is that Gond? I want to say
Learn
it was
something
Gond.
new.
I need to double check that. I may have spoken improperly.
That sounds correct.
I think,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the non-godlike god.
Yeah, he didn't he achieve godhood?
Yes.
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. As
Yes,
opposed to being one of the original gods, he's one of the ones that achieved godhood.
Yeah.
One of many.
Yes.
Some are born great, some achieve greatness, some have greatness thrust upon.
Others gain
and then there's
godhood by
Penn.
killing other gods.
Yeah, he was one of the deities of knowledge and invention. Yeah, he was the non-magical oriented deity. Yeah, okay, cool.
So
they
you
deserve
mutter,
to die, is what you're saying.
mutter curses
Well, no, I'm just
to Gond under your breath as you know, step away from each of them, and they're all. You can tell that you've helped a little bit. Actually, give me a. I'm just saying, just give me a straight charisma check.
Ooh, okay. Do. Oh, I am not charismatic at all.
Oh no, what was your total?
I'm passing around the hat and everybody's spitting in it.
So you're not necessarily making things worse, but you're, you know, as you move on from each one to the next, they're all just kind of like, uh-huh. They just kind of look at you, eyes glazed over, and just kind of like, you know, as you walk away, there you can tell they're just like, huh. The ones that, you know, are in most need of your services. Other ones just don't seem to care.
That's cool. That'll work. Can in all fairness, with my dislike of the advancements of man and the encroachments on nature, blah blah blah, I'm not really into it. So that's kind of an appropriate response.
And as you guys are continuing to work on these things, there's, in the distance you hear a screeching noise, another metal on metal screeching noise, as you see a set of lights on a car screeching and slowing to a halt on the opposite track across the way. And we're going to take ourselves a 15-minute break.
Yay!
I need to use the restroom and
So do I.
replenish my waters and stuff like that.
I'm
So
gonna get food. I'm hungry.
we'll be right back in like 15 minutes, and yeah, we'll be back.
Cool.
Hang out, do stuff. I don't know. Play music.
Yeah.
And cool. back. All right, well, thank you guys for waiting. So, you guys were just working on, triaging the people and coordinating, a somewhat survival situation to make sure that if this were a prolonged engagement, you guys were ready and prepared for it. Rinningham had the bright idea of trying to connect the train cars back to the track, and it was in the middle of those efforts when across the way, at the tracks on the north side of the valley here, a train car has come screeching to a halt, more or less right across the way from you guys. And there appears to be lots of movement and commotion as the doors slide open on this vehicle, and people start kind of spilling out. Some of them appear to be miners. Others appear to have, there appears to be groups of the gnomes, the gnomish engineers. And there's also some rather shinily clad individuals of a, guard variety.
Scantily?
Shinily clad, not scantily, shinily.
Shinily.
Fading
Yes.
back into the crowd.
Scantily clad guards. Oh no, the mental image.
I love it.
Stop.
That just doesn't seem to be all that terrifying.
In the name of the law.
Now you have to use that voice for him. Good job.
They are the people that actually buy most of the traditional female-looking armor.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
Put your
protective.
hands in the air and just
Their armor
wave them
class-
around.
Their armor class is a solid 26 all across the
Excuse
board.
me, if none of you guys are minor unit people, can you put your hands up and go over there? If you are not employed by the mining company, please. Anyway, so
Is that what they said? Is that what they actually said? Are they? Is this the voice you're going with?
Tell
You're
me that's
locking
what
this
they
one
said.
in. You're locking this one in.
we might as well. You know what? Fine, we're doing it. We're
Oh,
doing it.
heavens.
Oh no, please no.
Okay.
This guard,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I'm
like
okay with the
tell me
voice.
the
I'm
half
just thinking
giant or
the words
something.
need to be more assertive.
What do drag orcs look like?
Drag orcs. Very pretty.
this one's a half orc, rather tall, honestly. The armored boots definitely help add, a little bit of height. There's a little bit of a heel to it, about
Platform armored
2-3
boots.
inches. Yeah, just kind of just a little bit extra height
Nice.
as they walk over, and you can see that they're
I'm
walking a little bit
imagining
more
Rob Halford
gingerly
on
than the
stage.
rest through the sand. It's a little bit more difficult to walk in platforms through sand. And
Understandable.
the guards kind of flanking them, are much more stoic. And this one is just kind of all right, what's the situation here? We need to get ourselves figured out. And, are there any wounded? Where are the wounded? We need to make sure we get them first into the car here so we can get them back. And we're going to try to get these trains set up. Gnomes. And he watches, there's 8 of these gnomes, and they just kind of scramble up and they start, looking over at the tracks, and you can see that some of them, their hands start to glow. And as they do, they start reaching over to the sections of track that are warped, and the metal begins to change color, and they're slowly able to bend some of the track, and you can see they just get right to work doing that. And a couple other ones are clambering into the cars and hey, I started stripping stuff out of here. Why did you take the metal plates off? What is going on to this? And they look over and they see
throw the wrench over my shoulder.
roll me percentile dice. Roll me some D100s.
As I say,
Let's go.
it's the 100 and then just the 10. Yeah. Okay. Couldn't find them. There's a 92%.
Ooh.
As you toss it, you can just watch as this gnome just kind of grabs it out of the air and just immediately starts looking for where there's some bolts and stuff, and just kind of starts going, "Thank you," and just
You're welcome. I knew you. Heads up. You gotta keep it on a swivel around these parts. You never know what's gonna happen.
And it peeks down at you in the train car. What? What are you doing down there? What is this? Why are you taking apart? This is my train car.
I wasn't taking it apart. This wrench, I heard a clang. This wrench, I saw someone doing something, and they dropped the wrench down here, and I went to retrieve it in case, it was up to something nefarious. But then I heard you guys come, and I figured you'd need some help, so I tossed you the wrench because you would know what to do with the wrench. I don't know what to do with the wrench.
Deception check.
I don't know.
You gotta stop lying, man.
I don't know what to do with the wrench, though. Where's the lie, though?
Why does he have to?
That is a 23. No. Yes, 23.
Yep. Nope. Just. Well, put some panels back on and find another wrench and start putting stuff back together. We need to get this train back on the track pronto. It's wanted. And off he goes, and you can see he's like looking out at some of the structures that have been built, and he's just like up in arms, like, what? Points over to his friends, go get that stuff back. And they just start taking down, and the half-orc is like, what is going on here? And, no longer in charge. So
fair, folks. Sorry to you gnomes. We didn't know whether or not rescue was gonna be coming, so we figured that.
You didn't know if rescue was gonna come. Of course, rescue's gonna come. Do you think we don't care about our babies?
I didn't know whether or not you knew. We're pretty far out here. I'm glad that you that you know. Actually, I'm very happy, and I'm very sorry for what happened to your baby.
The guard walks up, seeing this the large effeminate half-orc. There's a plume like on their helmet and everything, and they're just like, "Excuse me, can someone tell me how this happened here? Can someone please explain to me why the track is buckled, why there's trains off there? Are there any bodies up in those ones? So there's things we have to handle here. Okay, has anyone attempted rescue?
Blessing.
Okay, so you 4 guards, you guys go over there and start trying to see what you can figure out, and report back to me as soon as you can. And we're gonna get the rest of everyone else. Okay, we're gonna create like a conga line. No, what is it? No, bucket brigade. That's the one we're looking for. Conga lines, that's Thursdays. So we're gonna take the most wounded and put them on the stretchers. And you can see another, like, one of the miners comes up with a bundle of, like, rolled up stretchers. There's lots of, like, the wooden rods and everything. You can see all the material. And they just start loading people on and setting up a line. And they start transporting wounded bodies over to the other train car across the way. Okay, so, to Theo, you are not part of the mining coalition. Gesturing to you, you're not part of the mining coalition. Takes a glance at Clor and you.
He's with us. He's with us, and he's very tired.
No, please wait. Continue, Doug. Please.
Definitely do not belong here, and I might have to have you come in for some questioning.
I love it.
Oh, I can't wait to see Clor get out of that one.
Bob and Penn, you guys have mostly stayed over by the medical folks. Are you guys leaving it back so they can transport people, or are you facilitating with that process?
Facilitating the process at this point.
We're committed. We're gotta see this through. The Red Cross just doesn't walk away when
if there's Penn's not saying this out loud, but it's kind of unspoken, I think, between he and Bob at this point that, if you can avoid the responsibility in general, that's fantastic. But should the responsibility fall to you, unfortunately, you need to see it through and do a semi-decent, semi-best job, depending on the situation. But, like, there's a certain amount of commitment of, okay, it's mine now, fine.
That makes sense. All right. So, who can tell me what took place here?
Pen raises his hand. Actually, his tail. Pen raises his tail. Because he's carrying someone.
Whoa. You're gonna
Yes.
define.
You. What happened
The
here?
trains went really fast, and then they fell off, and then they stopped really fast.
Yep.
And he just continues helping carry someone.
Okay. Can someone tell me something that isn't obvious? Like, how did the train tracks get all like this? And you see that there's gnomes like climbing on some of the, mangled parts, and they're adding weight as they're trying to using just looks like gloves. Their hands are glowing and they're slowly warping the tracks and trying to melt the tracks back into place
So cool.
and bend the metal. There's one's hanging on the edge of it, and you can see that they're adding weight and trying to flex it all back into place.
We need a pair of those gloves, probably.
Oh, well, so in terms of what happened here, I'm afraid I don't know exactly what caused the tracks to do what they did, but my friends and I, we are here on adventuring guild business, and we were walking alongside the tracks, and all of a sudden there was this great metallic noise of the bending of the metal as the tracks just came off with this big vibration that happened. And the windmill that was there started moving mighty fast. And the next thing we knew, the tracks were all turned and bent up off of where they should have been. And then after that, one of the cars derailed. We tried to stop a second, weren't really able to make it slow. A third, we managed to get to slow down a bit. And our friend Chlor there, the one that you pointed out, he got the fourth one to slow down even faster.
So his name is Chlor. What is your name?
Oh, my name's Theo, sir. Nice to meet you.
Okay, Theo. Sir, I like that. You little green one. What's your name?
How is she? They can see me. I guess I'm in the car. It's just a muffled. The name's Rayham Raksasa the Fourth.
Okay, Mr. We're going to So you're with the Adventurers Guild. That's what you're saying. You're out here adventuring.
Well, to be
At
fair,
night.
I'm with the Adventurers Guild, and they're with me. And we had tried to camp out here on our way to the location where we were led to believe that unfortunately the body of a young woman was found not too long ago.
Oh, so you're looking in. You're doing that quest that was posted like who knows how many weeks ago. So you're trying to
Yes,
figure
and
out that
also,
thing.
Yes, and also looking for a missing painter as well. He was last seen in the area, and trying to find a cat. So we were taking a walk to try to see if maybe we could spot things along the way, and that's why we were not on one of the trains.
Wait, are Pen and Bob in the array of things close to the group right now?
At
It's
the
okay,
very
I just want to check.
at the very edge of earshot, it's one of those you can definitely tell that Theo is having a conversation with someone, but much of the detail you'd have to get closer or very intently try to listen in.
Okay.
I'm going to continue looking like I know what I'm doing and helping folks, and maybe they'll not notice.
Absolutely. Just wanted to know how far we were.
I mean, to be perfectly... Oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, I'm making as much noise as possible. I'm not really putting the panels back on as much as I am just kind of like leaning them up and just banging on them.
I love it.
That checks out.
Poor gnome.
And I'm also kind of getting a little rhythm in there. And I look out the window and I see this line of people, and I'm just like, ting 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 ting.
So,
Roll me a performance check.
Ooh, let's get it.
Do it.
Make sure.
Does he get a bonus if it's a Thursday conga night?
That would be a 10. Oh, man.
The gnome that's
Watch the polyrhythms.
trying to fix stuff on top of the side of the car that was like looking at you like, what the hell are you doing? Just kind of looks down. What is Those panels aren't attached.
Yeah, well, you notice it has kind of a good little ring to it. Let me try hitting the other.
Care about the ring to it. You know what has a good ring to it? A properly functioning train system.
Well, I can't properly lift these panels. I'm a small man. I don't have any of those gloves. Do you have an extra pair of gloves? My hands are too small. Can't properly grip this wrench to reattach these panels.
As you're saying this, the gnome just hops in beside you, takes the gloves off, shoves them in their pocket, lifts the panel and just like shoves it into place, pulls out 3 screws out of their pocket, starts hand twisting some of them back into place, takes the wrench from your hand, tightens them all down, puts the last one in. Like that! Hands you back the screwdriver, puts a bunch of screws in your hand, climbs back out.
Gloves, then, though, could I need the gloves, my hands.
You don't need the gloves. The gloves are for the rails.
So then you're saying I should go work on the rails?
No!
But
Either fix the inside of the train car and get out of here.
You want me to get out of the car to go to the rails?
At this point, he's not even listening.
Okay.
What's on second? I don't know something.
I kind of clamber out.
So, you do realize that the murders happened, like, several days' travel from here, right?
Yeah, so, to be fair, that was something that we realized after we'd started walking. So it came down to a decision point of whether or not we were going to keep walking. We determined that since we'd been hiking for most of the day, we would camp out tonight and continue our journey till we got to a point where maybe we were able to hop on a train if that were possible. But for the most part, our goal was to just continue at a reasonable time. And to be honest with you, sir, like our entire group was together for the majority of this time. So I don't think any of us really know exactly what happened. We just know that we were camping out when whatever did happen occurred. And we basically ran for it and then tried to administer whatever help we could.
They start looking at you a bit more seriously. So, what you're telling me is that you, Mr. Theo, have a campsite set up just over there. Those were those tents over by the windmill, right?
Yeah, and when the windmill started moving, we worried that something bad was going to happen, so we got as far from the area as we could.
And you are roughly, at this point in time, half a day's travel from the city. You are not part of the mining coalition, and it just so happens, Theo,
you're being interviewed by the church lady.
Theo. It just so happens, Theo, that you were here when we have a catastrophic failure of one of our integral transportation systems. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Theo?
Well, yeah, that's the long and the short of it. We were there. I'm not going to deny that we were present at our campsite where we were camping out when whatever happened to cause those tracks to do what they did occurred.
Theo, do you happen to have your papers from when you entered the city? Are you not a... Are you a citizen?
I do,
what is your...
actually,
okay. May I see them?
Yes, absolutely. And Theo's going to get out his papers and he's going to hand them to the guard.
And the guard starts looking all these over.
And if you want, I can show you my Adventurers Guild handbook too, if that's in question.
Just kind of shrugs at you. So you've been here for only a few days.
Long enough that I had to get my my more permanent papers, yeah.
Yes, extended travelers. You didn't file for residency, so...
No, to be honest, I wasn't exactly sure I wanted to necessarily settle here. My entire goal for coming here from where I'm from was to join the Adventurers Guild, so...
Rolls up the papers, sticks them in a spot. Yeah. So, what you're telling me is that a human from not here, are here for a few days, start walking west along our primary transportation infrastructure, the same day that we have a primary infrastructure catastrophe. you mentioned that there were others in your party, including that tall drink of water over there. So,
Sauce.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm that tall. I've been called tall before in my life, but it wasn't from someone who was objectively taller. But I'll take, you look not so bad yourself.
the guard just looks you up and down. So, how many are there with you in your party, Mr. Theo?
Well, there could be one more.
Bob, now is the time for us to decide if we're associated with the group any longer.
Well, okay. There's Renningham there, the one who keeps making the funny jokes.
We
He's
might
got
have
quite
to
a sense
shut
of
someone
humor.
up too.
And then there's Chlor, that tall drink of water that you mentioned. He was very helpful in trying to stop the trains from derailing. And then we got two people who helped save the wounded people who were here. They were providing medical attention.
Chlor
That's,
turns at you as you say his name again and glares at you, Theo.
I'm sorry.
Like, wide, serious, like, fuck you just say my name for kind of glare.
You said my name in front of the people, and we were not before the people. You said my name.
Theo does honesty very well. He doesn't do lies, okay?
We'll talk
His
about it when
mom
we get
and
home.
Pa raised him well. It's the problem. So we got Penn, who's a medically minded doctor type, and we got Bob, who's also a healer, but of the more spiritual variety. And they were very useful with helping with the poor folk who got hurt in crashes.
We've been ratted out.
But you, the
We can still
face
blend.
of this group, are the only
I
one with the
wouldn't-
actual guild affiliations.
Might be blending in with the wounded at this point. Maybe I'll fall down in between them. I don't know.
I wouldn't say that I'm the face. I'm not very good at talking to people.
Perhaps we need to nominate a new spokesperson once we get past this.
I'm
Theo,
just here to answer your question.
I'm
I don't know
going
why groups
to...
need faces. Why does a group need
Jeff-
a face?
They gesture to some of the guards and... I would like you to escort Mr. Theo here to go and collect Mr. Theo's friends. Put them in shackles, collect their papers. We are taking them in for more questioning.
Here's the thing about shackles. I have very thin wrists, and I think if I had some
We
extra
can
padding,
accommodate.
if there were gloves, one of the gnomes told me they needed help on the rails, but I was supposed to come by for gloves. That's the only reason I came over, was because I needed some gloves to work on the rails.
Another deception
wait a
check.
minute.
With disadvantage.
Ooh, you bitch. Okay.
I'd be surprised.
So 18.
That's with disadvantage?
Disadvantage?
I rolled an 11 and a 13.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Alright. The guard turns to the gnomes. So is he with you, or is he actually being of assistance? He's looking for the gloves. No, get that out of here. We don't need him.
He said I was helping. I was in there. I was trying to attach the panels. He said I didn't do a very good job at the panels. I haven't attached a lot of panels in my time.
I could have
and then he
attached
said to go to
15
the
panels
rails.
by the time you attached one. Get the hell out of
I
here.
said I wasn't very good at attaching panels, and then you sent me off to work on the rails without any gloves. How am I supposed to work on rails
And-
without the proper equipment?
Out of the corner of your eye, you see one of the gnomes go to where that mechanism that like actually blew was, and
The knob?
no, like the track one, the one that was like where the track kind of
Okay.
blew
okay,
out,
good.
and
All right.
you see he grabs a couple of like the springs and gears that were like laying in the dirt beside it, and just kind of like picks them up and then hops down in to the setup, and you can hear the windmill straining from the distance as it slows down.
Now, wait just a second here. I'm sorry. You want to take us in for additional questioning, but we haven't done
Yes.
anything wrong.
You are the only group of people who are here who are not part of the mining coalition, who apparently were here when the catastrophic event took place. So at the very least, you are witnesses. At the most, you are perpetrators. And so,
Okay,
until
but
we can determine where you all stand, we are going to take you for questioning.
I'm-
You are not citizens here. You do not gain the rights of citizens. You are visitors. And so we are going to take you all for questioning. Is that going to be a problem? Do I have to get more guards and we'll, handle this? Or will you all, cooperate?
No, I
Are
don't
they,
think
are
that
they
that's
still collecting bodies?
They are still moving bodies and stuff along. They are, and you can actually see in the distance another set of lights, and you hear screeching slowly increasing in volume at in a distance.
Is there a section of dead bodies?
No, they've been more just handling the wounded. If there are any that are dead that either weren't before or have been moved by people, they're just kind of being left there for now, wherever they were.
As Penn is helping move bodies, can Penn put up his hood and try and blend in with the wounded?
Give me a stealth check with disadvantage,
oh jeez.
because you are distinctly not a minor.
Way too old to be a minor.
Disadvantage. It would have been a 21.
You are trying to blend in. You look at the side of the, caravan of people, and you're just like, I'm gonna quickly switch to the other side and put my hood up, and if you could tuck your horns in, you would. As you're like, okay, and you're just kind of like, just taking an inch or two off the top, and
under my coat and everything, carefully shuffling along.
As some guards start kind of heading in general direction, and Floor is not happy about this and is trying to fend them off.
Whoa, Clore,
Hands off
Clore,
me.
Calm down. Clore.
You got me into this mess.
I'm sorry, buddy, but maybe you shouldn't, put up too much of a fight. I think that they're serious about calling out more people. Let's just go along. We didn't do anything wrong. We're not going to get in trouble.
This reminds me of a comedy routine. I didn't know how many it was going to need to. They were going to need to arrest me, but I knew how many they were going to use, and that's important information to have.
There's now like 4 people trying to manhandle Clore and try to.
Hey! Look, maybe. And Theo's talking to the half orc guard here. I think the fact that there's that many people trying to restrain Clore there is making him a little bit more agitated. I don't think that that's strictly necessary. Okay, we'll go along. You just don't need that many folks. That's just making the situation worse. Please.
They will use whatever force that they deem necessary.
Yeah,
and with that, one of the guards from behind just like kicks the back of Clore's knee, and he comes to his knees.
Hey!
Stop resisting.
He's got a knife.
We may not be one of your citizens, but the fact of the matter is this type of behavior, this type of treatment is not called for. We've been doing nothing but helping. So, yeah, we'll come in, but I would like to know the name of your superior officer, because I would love to speak to them about what exactly is happening here, because what you're doing to my friend there, that ain't right.
Am I being detained? I need a badge number.
And also, if I can just say, your footwear is totally uncalled for in this environment. There's a lot of sand. Did you know that there was sand out here? Were you prepared to come out here?
We're gonna need to gag that one.
Ooh.
And so yeah, they bring out manacles, and one of the guards just kind of like just picks you up on, holds you under his arm, Renningham, and just starts walking back towards the train.
Come on, are you kidding me? He's got feet. He can walk. This is getting into the point of being cruel and inhumane.
The guard gestures back. I don't see any bodies coming out of those train cars. Which is more cruel and inhumane? What happened to them? Or bringing in people who are resisting? To be questioned. You could have just walked.
Brittingham wasn't resisting. He was just talking. You gagged him and now you're picking him up and moving him. You,
Guards,
Claude
take this
down,
man
you're acting a lot
to
more
the...
forceful.
Take this man. And now you can see Chlor is now also gagged, and they're kind of sort of just shoving him along. He just continues to give you the stink eye.
Oh, hell. Yeah.
Penn and Bob.
The only people
I guess
Let's
not
go.
detained.
Run!
we see these arrests
Run!
taking place, don't we?
I mean, yeah, they're not being subtle.
Oh, perhaps I should just continue walking and like putting objects between me and their line of sight, like train cars and things of that nature.
Penn, you feel a firm grasp on your shoulder from behind.
Can I help you?
Peers around and just kind of pulls your back, and you see it's a hobgoblin, and this one just has a very stoic face. Coming with me.
Why?
Because he ain't one of them. And they're the only ones on the train.
What do you
You're
mean
coming with
by
me.
them?
I was on the first train coming from the city.
Just following orders.
But I wasn't with them.
Are you coming with me or not?
Alright.
He hands you manacles.
Ben looks up at him like with his biggest puppy dog eyes he can manage. I'm not. I was in the first deck. I'm too sore to do anything. I'm not
Deception
gonna run
check.
after.
As you all try to...
How about a nat 20?
Ooh.
Puts the manacles
Did
away.
you want a 25 with that deception check? I'm sorry.
Ooh.
Dang.
Pulls out some rope that appears to be much gentler. Put your wrists out.
Wait, what did you say? I'm sorry.
Put your wrists out.
He Penn puts one arm out and then fake winces. Well, he winces trying to move his right hand back out there and trying to hold it uneven, but it looks painful to hold it out like that.
He starts tying to the one wrist. And the other one. Once they're tied, you can let him rest in front of you.
He put it out. He put both out.
Oh, you put both out? It sounded like you only did one. Sorry.
No, he did both. He just made it look like one was really hard.
So he gently but firmly ties your wrists together. Go follow your friends.
I mean, all right. I don't know them.
Before we get to you, Bob. Rinningham, give me a... What is the right check for this? Actually, you know what? What are you... As you're being handled by a guard, what are you doing? What are you doing?
My hands are bound.
I mean, you got manacles, so
Right.
there's some play.
Right. But are they behind me or in front of me?
In front of you.
And he's carrying me like a suitcase?
More like just like carrying you like...
Oh, like under the arm?
Yeah, kind of like this, just kind of, you know, with your feet in front of you, in front of him.
Okay. Do I notice? Can I reach his hand? Like the hand that's carrying me underneath?
I'm gonna say, yeah, you can reach it. Sure.
I'm pinching the outsides of his fingers. Not hard, just like,
To be a nuisance.
you know,
Just being annoying.
quit, you know.
Okay. Fuck. Fuck. Stop that. And he kind of like just like lurches you in his arms. So you just kind of get like tossed a little bit as he gets his grip better.
How close am I? What kind of pants is he wearing?
From what you can tell, it looks to be leather
Maybe he's
pants,
wearing
but
chaps.
they're assless chaps in this squad. No, these are they're mainly leather, but you can see like on the upper half there appears to be like chainmail kind of draped down, to kind of cover the groin and the upper halves of
I see.
the legs.
Okay. What about the shoes?
They appear to be like
Run of the mill boots.
yeah, run of the mill, thick
Are
leather.
they double knotted? Single knotted?
That is hard to tell considering you're facing the wrong way for that.
Oh, I'm facing his. I'm back.
Yeah, yeah. Your legs are in front of him.
Oh.
So as you've been
okay.
pinching his like yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Can I see who's behind me?
Behind you, you can see Theo is still having his deep conversation with the
Okay.
guard in question.
Yeah.
You can see Clore is currently being manhandled, and not thrilled about it at all.
How many guards?
On who?
Just around.
Give me a perception check.
That is a 14.
All told, from your vantage point, you can see about 18 to 20. Because there's ones that are helping, like, coordinate people. There's the ones that are, you know, the 4 of them that are manhandling Clore.
Oh, so we're still like leaving the area. Like we haven't gotten on. We're not. We haven't.
No,
gotten
yeah,
to
you're
anybody.
walking currently across the way towards the other train car to.
Are we close to where that gnome was underground? Like,
You're
are we
kind of.
having to walk past him?
You'll have to walk past it, yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do, um, hmm. Whenever we get close to the pit, I want to use Mage Hand to trip. Let's see, who's behind me? Everyone's behind me.
I mean, they're all kind of behind you, but they're not. You're the only one who's being pulled away right now because everyone else is more or less in conversation still.
Oh, okay.
Clore is, timeline wise, Clore is currently being manhandled right now.
Gotcha. So I'm already being pulled away.
Yep.
Okay. So then it's just going to be me. As we cross by the pit, I'm going to use Mage Hand to grab the back of the heel of the guy that's carrying me right before we get to the pit.
Okay. Mage hand, mage hand, mage hand. That requires a vocal component. You are currently gagged. Give me a charisma check. Just a straight charisma check, not a saving throw, just a check.
16.
The DM is so frustrated by good rolls.
All right,
And then
you're
he
gonna need
keeps
to.
twisting it around anyway.
Well, because I have to figure out how this freaking works. Because to trip someone is effectively a grapple check. You're doing a grapple check with Mage Hand.
How about this? How about this?
10 pounds?
Instead of trying to grab, the dude's foot, I want to kind of use Mage Hand to shove a dune of sand, like to push a dune of sand in front of his next step.
Okay, make him do
Right.
an acrobatics check. Great. So as he's walking, suddenly there's
Probably
a
a disadvantage because he's off weight carrying, something under his arm. He has one arm. You can't flail your arms for balance because you got one, and the chainmail.
He'll just make sure that he falls on you. That's all.
It tinkles. So there, he's distracted by the tinkling.
You know what? I'll give that to you. Fine.
Was it the tinkling? The tinkling is what did it, yeah?
So with disadvantage on the die was a 15.
Come on. What are you
You rolled a 15 and a 17. So he catches and manages to not completely lose it.
I should have shifted my weight whenever he did it. Kind of go with him a little bit.
Flailed.
Really throw him off.
And you've got time for about one more attempted action before he is past the pit.
I'm gonna cast sleep, I think.
Try to cast sleep. I believe that also has a vocal component, which
It does.
and it has a material pinch of sand.
He's got the sand.
You do. Oh my gosh. All right, give me another charisma check to see if you can muffle the words just right and try to sing your bardic song through a gag, because why the hell not?
Are you okay? What was that?
It was an 8.
Okay.
8 degrees.
I rolled an 8. Come on.
You
I've rolled new dice.
you switch the physical dice to prevent these things from with the digital dice.
Yeah, it was this particular set. I'm getting a different set. These suck.
Unfortunately, you're having a hard time getting the noises to come out right in order to sing your bardic lullaby. Instead of the classic da da da, you're more like and you pinch your dust in your fingers and nothing happens.
Oh well, still have my spell slots then.
All right, Bob. You were
Walking
kind of in the
along.
vicinity of the guard who was talking to Penn and getting Penn to begrudgingly let their wrists be tied, and you can see that they are looking for another person.
Still walking. Looking
All
like
right.
I know what I'm doing. Maybe a little dazed.
I will give it to be your choice between either a bluff check or a stealth check, depending on how. That's the closest thing I can come up with. Is
Okay. All right. Let's see. Which one do we want to do? How about a performance check?
You know what? I'll let you have a performance check. I'll let you have that to try to.
Because it's a performance of sorts.
Now, there's a degree of which it's like Derek Zoolander when he joins the mining crew, but
Well, yeah.
I've got the lung, Pop.
Okay. All right.
you're dead to me, son.
Let's see what happens.
You're more dead to me than your dead mother.
It's an 11.
You kind of moving along and trying to do stuff, and after a moment or two you realize that there's been guards just kind of like watching you just be as excessively helpful as possible, and you're like, no, let me grab the end from you early, and like, oh, let me hold on to it just a touch longer, and you're just You hammed it up just a touch too much.
Too much.
Too much.
The Oscar's slipping away. I can feel it.
And you just hear a curt, just like grunt, just
Oh, nya, nya, nya.
from behind you.
Nya, 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 nya.
Well, I guess I'll stop and turn to face this person who is not speaking to me. What can I do for you?
Holds up a pair of manacles and kind of just looks over to Penn, who is getting their wrists tied, and over to Clore, who is, getting now picked up by 4 burly dudes as they're trying to, like,
So
Harry.
sorry.
Okay, so he's
and
holding
Theo,
up the
who is
manacles.
having a heated conversation.
Okay, he's holding up the manacles. At that point, I will raise my hand and say, "That is a violation of my order. I will go with you willingly."
Looks at you, looks at the manacles, looks at Penn, who has rope, puts the manacles away, pulls out some rope.
Do you really feel the need to do this?
Orders is orders.
Well, if he's going to do it, then I will hold out my wrists so that he may bind them. However, as he reaches for the wrists, I will be casting at will. Come on now. Sorry, slow responsiveness
What
here.
are you casting at will? What are you doing, Bob?
Lots of things.
We will be casting Druidcraft and creating the sound of a small baying dog in the distance as he reaches to bind my wrist.
Okay.
Is that a cantrip or is that like a spell
Yes,
slot?
it's a cantrip.
Okay, we're okay.
Wait.
I'm
Oh no,
intrigued.
he's too far away from me, isn't he?
So the guards kind of nearby, like, they all kind of, like, look around, hearing this distinctly, distinct noise compared to the rest of it, and then they just kind of go back to what they were doing.
At which point I look at the guard standing in front of me and say, seriously, it's not needed.
You take it up with him. And just
Okay.
continues to
It's your
bind your wrist.
soul.
And, ties them up. Theo, how's your conversation going?
Probably not very well. I think Theo's realized that getting agitated over what's happening to his friends, no matter how rightly so it is not helping the situation. So he's going to take a deep breath while he's walking and just kind of. I apologize for my temper, sir. It's just
Well,
to see I'd
that's
never
much
been
better.
arrested before. And honestly, I do feel that the treatment of my friends may be a little bit excessive in certain situations, that I do understand you need to do your job and you need to keep yourself and your fellows safe while you're doing it. But to be honest, I feel that, and this might just be the small town person in me talking.
Sorry. I don't
It's
actually care about how you feel.
probably better
And-
for cooperation if you're less forceful.
Just kind of looks over at Clore, who's still being Clore.
Theo's realized that, talking to Clore in this situation isn't going to help. Clore's pissed off at him, so.
And, please.
All right, but I'm telling you, my friends and I have nothing to do with whatever happened here.
As you're saying that, Clore is, basically being passed beside you as these guards are carrying him, and he's just struggling against his, muffled, and keeps
Could you
glaring
at
at you,
least-
Theo.
Could you at least take the gags off of my friends here? I think that part is unnecessary. That just seems mean. Please.
Persuasion check with disadvantage.
No, but, he's not exactly very charismatic, so this will be hilarious.
Persuasion, that's performance.
Oh shit, that is performance. It's gonna be the same.
Oh, it
thing
is
anyway.
the same, you're right, but...
That's all right. It's a 4, I guess. Was that the lowest? Hold on. Yeah, I think.
I mean, even if we include the other one.
4.
yeah,
It was a
yeah, yeah.
4.
Even
The
on
other
your
one was a
previous roll.
5.
I would say, and on your previous when you're doing the performance, which you're right was the same modifier. Dude, the highest was a 9, and this guard just kind of looks at you.
Not his specialty.
Yeah, just kind of looks at you. So we're gonna have to gag you too, or just gonna let things kind of move along here?
I don't think that gagging me is gonna be necessary, sir.
Well, thank you for your cooperation, and we're gonna have the rest of the guards come here and help out the rest of the situation. So you guys are gonna go over to the.
Sir.
You're gonna go over to the second car. Thank you for calling me sir. You're gonna go over to the other car because we're going to transport you guys out here faster, so we can find out what's going on sooner. And then we're gonna take the wounded, and just kind of like as he's saying that, like the guards are now doing the directing to the other other guards and like other people who appear to be like trying to take charge. And the gnomes at this point have managed to wrestle a bunch of this section of track into something that's relatively straight, and you can see that there's still like a couple of feet distance between where the end of the track and where it's supposed to connect. However, right in between is where there's now 3 gnomes just kind of like pulling things in and like grabbing pieces of gearing, and some of them you can watch as they take a piece of metal and their gloves glow and they crunch it down, and then they're able to kind of sort of pull it back into crude shaping as they then hand it down to the guy down there. And you can hear just like a cacophony of like crackly voices like, oh my gosh, to think these things were built to last. Sand for sure didn't do this. There's no way sand did this. And they're just kind of thinking around.
How about very, very small rocks?
Do you actually say that like as you're walking by?
No, that's me making a Monty Python.
Yes, but it would have been funny, so that's why I was asking.
No,
we tried very small rocks. We know it wasn't very small rocks.
We did. We already know that a rock is already a bad idea. Theo knows enough to at least not mention that part.
So,
but he does have one more thing to say, though. Actually,
okay.
To the guard, say the other half-orc gentleman, the person in the mining company uniform who was standing around that makeshift shelter when you arrived.
Yes.
If you could pass a message on to whoever's in charge of the mine and let them know that he did a very good job of taking command and organizing people when in a crisis, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Just kind of looks at you and is like, noted, and continues to. And you guys are basically taken off to the second car, and you can actually. It's pretty empty. It's an empty car. It was brought over with there's some soldiers and some people moving around, and there's boxes of supplies and things, but the car is now empty, and they just kind of like put you inside. And for those of you with manacles, they take other sets and just kind of bind you to some of the metal piping and stuff that's in there. And then those of you who are roped, they lash you on to just keep you basically chained up to the side. And then they start patting you down and start taking swords and weapons off of your person. And
excuse me, sorry, could you be very careful with the bow, please? It was from my father. It's the last thing I got from him.
Find a nickel for every father's bow I've had to pull off for some purpose.
I'm sure you'd have an awful lot, but I'm asking you very politely, please.
Yeah. And just kind of he's not aggressive with it, but he's not gentle. He's just kind of like, Tim, it's just a bow. Starts basically, and you start seeing there's now like a pile of basically your guys' stuff on the opposite side of the train car. And a gnome kind of comes along in and goes over to the panel that's facing back towards the city and turns some of the dials, takes the lever and squeezes it tight and then clanks it in that direction. And the lights kind of flicker for a couple of seconds before the cart starts to slowly roll. And it starts picking up slower, or faster, and faster, and faster. And now you're going about twice your walking speed. And the gnome just kind of looks back at you guys and the couple of guards that are also in there with you. And it's just like, we're just going to have to limp our way back. There's none of the enhancements along this way. It's gonna be a couple of hours.
A couple of hours. Well, I think this is a very smooth ride, sir. So good work on what you do. I've never been on one of these before. Theo is anxious. That's why he's rambling.
You might as well take a chance to take a nap. It's gonna be a couple of hours. We're just gonna keep on moving.
Are we placed near each other?
There's like a 5-foot space between each of you. This car is like pretty big, so.
How many times am I getting kicked, guys? That's the question here.
Luckily, you're not within range of anyone to kick you. Clor, in fact, he's just kind of like.
My tail's pretty long.
It can reach into the next one. I don't know if it's 10 feet long, Veiled, actually, like. But Clor, they didn't really unhog tie him at this point, basically. He's just kind of like laying there, just seething.
So bad.
Laning.
Staring up at you.
Speak to the manager.
You can see how heavily he's breathing. The sweat still dripping from his brow. Slightly matting his fur.
Wait, is Rinningham next to me?
Sure, why not? Why not? There's the gnome, and then a couple feet away on the side is Rinningham, and then we'll say Penn, and then we'll say Bob, and then Theo, and then Clor.
I feel so bad.
If the guards, if Penn starts to shuffle towards Rinningham, are the guards upset by this?
No, they're more just kind of amused because your wrists are kind of basically bound to part of the side, so you're like shifting, like pivoting on your wrists, basically. So you can only get, maybe 3-ish feet closer. It's not really substantial.
But my tail can reach it.
Yes.
Can I try and take off Rinningham's gag with my tail?
I mean,
I
sure.
thought you were going to just tickle him.
Sure.
How many
you can-
how many guards are in here? You said it was like 5.
Yeah, there's like 5 guards. Just one for each of you.
Okay.
What check do you need me to do to get that off?
I'm going to say give me a
Dexterity.
sleight of hand check.
Okay. 14.
Sleight of tail check.
Sleight of tail check. So you kind of quietly, trying to make the least amount of ruffling with your coat while the guards are still kind of rummaging through your stuff, and they've grabbed, a bunch of your papers, and they're like kind of getting it all organized and checking, and you can see them kind of chuckling to themselves as they're looking through and just see different random supplies and whatnot. You're able to not really untie it, but you're able to pull it just enough where Runningham's able to get his chin under it. And can now speak more plainly.
Okay. Hold on. What's the total area of space that we're in here?
Oh no.
Yeah, baby.
Like, are all the guards? They're all rummaging through our stuff. Like, they're all over there.
I mean, they're all kind of along. I mean, there's one that's kind of more watching you guys, but not paying close enough attention. Clearly,
Mm-hmm.
there's like of the 5, like 3 of them are rummaging through your stuff. The other 2 are just kind of like looking at you guys, chatting with each other, just kind of chilling, basically at the other end.
We've already taken off on this car.
It's not moving very fast. Like I said, it's about twice the speed you guys were being able to go when you're walking it.
Okay. And it's
So you expect it to take 3 to 5 hours before you're going to get to your destination.
And are we we're in the front of the procession?
Yeah, you guys are towards the front.
Frick. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna cough really like bleh,
No response.
I don't know where he got this gag from, but it did not taste like it was from somewhere very nice.
One of the guards just kind of turns and looks at you.
And I'm like,
Ken's back at his spot, clearly not having done any.
I shove because the gag kind of fell down a little bit to make it look like I'm still gagged.
I'll allow it. Oh gosh, now we need to actually look at some of your inventories and see what they're finding as they rummage through.
yeah, I remember. I seem to remember that I have a pet owl.
Just like
What?
randomly in your bag or what?
No, he's.
Oh
been
my
flying
gosh, you
around.
do have a freaking pet owl,
Forgot about that.
completely forgot
gonna
about it this
come in
whole
handy.
time.
Yeah, I started looking through my inventory because I was like, "Oh, what are they going to pull out that I would want?" But I
Apparently, they're gonna pull out an owl.
His name's
They do find
Scott
your
the owl? I
they
love
do
it.
find your bag of gold, Rinningham, and they're just kind of like,
Bag of
oh,
owl chow.
and just kind of like tie it to their belt.
Okay. Which one? Who did it? Whose belt's it on?
It's the second guard. The three that are like along that side. It's the one in the middle. He just kind of like, oh, you hear the jingle jingle, and he just kind of ties it to his belt.
Making a note of him.
And we're just gonna, just for shiggles and gits here, because why the heck not? As they're rummaging through your stuff, a tiny owl pops their head out of your bag.
Very cute. I love it.
Is there? There's no there's no opening to the outside.
Nope. What the fuck? And there's
Tiny owl.
Wait,
That sounds like a
Teller's
name.
gonna pick that exact moment after he heard that sound to poke his head up out of my coat.
Aww.
Alright,
Does
so you
my
guys can
owl
own this
notice?
interaction.
Does my does Scott notice Teller?
I don't know. Does Scott notice Teller? Scott has stats.
I know.
Scott has.
I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up the stats. Stats.
Pull up your stats, dang it! Pull up your stats, man.
They're up. Perception +3. No, he does not. That was a natural one. These dice suck ass.
New set.
New set.
You're on the bus.
I have a third. I don't know what it is. This
Next set of dice.
We'll give it another chance. But
Bad dice go to dice jail.
oh, but I have advantage. That's a 9. No.
So how
It's an 11. It's an 11.
how is Teller being stealthy about his head popping out?
As much as Teller usually does, he doesn't like to be seen. But he heard a concerning noise and wanted to investigate.
So roll a stealth check then for Teller.
I realize I don't have a sheet for Teller.
If you
Well,
go, let's see.
Google
Go to
5e
pen.
like squirrel should
So
work,
you
right?
do. So if you go under your character sheet and go to extras,
Oh, extras.
yep, Teller is there. You can click on Teller and so he does not have
It's not have stuff.
a stealth
stealth is
skill, so it's
a-
just a straight dexterity roll.
Dex check.
Yep.
Come on, little buddy.
With
Hey, you
modifier.
left our tents behind.
It's a 9.
So Teller locks eyes with Scott. And Scott just kind of like feathers kind of in the it's tiny little owl, you know, in the guard's hand, just being gently held, and it's just
Is
like
it a pygmy owl?
I forget what kind.
uh
I never filled it out on my character. On my
yeah, you
on my,
didn't you just
extra
it's just
sheet.
tiny owl. You just
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Tiny beast.
yep,
I saw it.
but it's tiny. Like is when you talk tiny,
The
that's
size
tiny.
of Teller.
It is
Yeah,
an
basically.
owl.
So
It's
you know,
a
make
smaller
like
species.
tiny barn owl style. thing.
So I notice
that Scott notices. And I'm going to. There's a door on this car.
Yeah, it's a couple feet down. There's one on either side of the train car, and then there's ones at the head and foot.
Did they lock it when they got
they're
in?
closed.
Okay.
Are they locked or just closed?
Give me a perception check with disadvantage because you weren't there when it. You don't know the.
That was a nat 20. Cool. Glad that happened. That'd be a. You said investigation?
Perception.
Perception. Oh, 10. I got a 10.
I got a 14.
When you were dealing with the cars before, you don't remember seeing any necessarily locking mechanism outside of like just a regular thing to keep the door shut, not necessarily something to prevent it from being opened. Yeah.
And then how far away is there? You said there was a door behind them, like on either end. So I'm assuming it's us.
I wish I had a way.
Our stuff.
I will try to fix this for next session so I can actually like draw this out because anyway. So it's really like the bay doors are several feet down beyond like floor. So there's 2 bay doors, one on either side, and they kind of open up wide to like a 10-foot opening. That's what when the train cars were like rolling down the hill, that's the ones that were open and flinging bodies. And the ones that jammed the most when you were trying to open them if they didn't fling bodies. Then there's ones at the head and foot, and that are like a regular 5-foot wide door. So these are only like 20-ish feet wide on the 15 feet wide on the cars. Ish, give or take.
I'm sorry, was there one at the front and the back, you said?
Yep, there's one at the head and the foot, and then there's ones on the sides.
And are we the only things secured to the train?
Currently, yes.
And how fast are we going?
No.
Like twice walking speed.
So not really fast.
Not really fast at all.
Not enough to create a vacuum.
Like an airlock.
No, not at all. Not enough to magically open the doors and just vacuum people out through the. No.
I got half of that down. It's the getting them out now that I'm stuck on.
Yeah.
I'm just not picturing like if it was full speed. You're just like, okay, what if I open the back door first, open the front door, and just suck everyone out? Just spray of bodies behind you as your kill count just climbs.
Pen has to reach level 6, okay?
There was a third part to this plan that involved an unseen servant, okay? And he was just going to be ready to push them out the back.
This party!
I like this idea.
Oh.
That's better than any of the ideas I've had.
Unfortunately, right now, if someone were to take like a full dash action, they'd be only just kind of tailing behind. So if you knock them out the side door, they might be able to jump onto the back door.
So I noticed Scott freak out about something, and I'm gonna communicate to him to chill.
Yep,
I can.
Yeah, Verdan mental communication. And Scott just kind of turns and looks at you.
Anybody. Wild.
And just kind of like tries to chill. You can see he's like ruffled, looking at this person who's holding him, who he doesn't know, looking back at you. And the guard is just like trying to figure out why this was just in your bag. Like, like
that's a good question.
Don't worry, so's the rest of the party at this point.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I'm waiting to see what he's gonna do with the tiny owl.
Pen, there is one of them just looking at a bound leather book and just starts kind of looking through it, and it's just like, ugh, magical folk, and just kind of chucks it back on the pile. Theo, you see them kind of going through just about everything. They see your notebook, your pages, and just kind of quickly skim through, and I'm looking at the dates and the times and the, looks over at you.
Oh no! Oh, that might be. Oh, that'll be interesting. Okay. Yep.
Looks back at the book and puts that back on the pile. And they're just kind of, as the train cars go, they're just kind of slowly sifting through everyone's stuff. Wait, what did he end up choosing? Oh shoot! I wish that Dave was here. Because there's something about his character that I have notes about, but it doesn't. I don't see the relative item. So. Oh, that's right. That's right. It was his. It was his bracelets. That's what it was. Okay. You see the guards kind of struggling with Chlor's bracelet on his wrist, trying to take it off of him. And they can't. And Chlor, being Chlor, is also fighting and kicking back, and they're just like punching at him and kicking at him and just trying to like shut him up as he's muffling.
Hey, that's not called for. You don't gotta do that. He's already restrained and on, in a bind there. You do not have to beat him up.
Chlor, as he's just like getting kicked in the ribs, is just glaring at you, Theo.
Theo's aware that he might have gotten people into a bad situation here, but still, that's not called for, and he's willing to talk to remind the guards of that. He's literally not doing anything. He can't do anything to hurt you.
So, by the time the guards kind of give up, you can see that Theo is, or not Theo, Chlor is, he's a bit bruised. And they just kind of like give up on it, and they're like, we're going to have a mage look at that. So they can't get it off of his wrist. And they don't want to untie him to try to get it further off. However,
While
going
you're at
through...
it, you might want to have a mage look at your heads, too. I think you all got screws loose with the way that you were acting right there.
What's your AC?
What's my AC? Oh, hell yeah. Let's do this. It's a big 14.
All right.
Easy to hit. I'm not really meant for close combat, except when I have the shovel in hand.
Why is it taking so long? Okay. You're going to do...
I am a stationary target, DM.
Also prone.
I know. Well, you're not prone. You're not even fully you're restrained is really the closest.
I think the appropriate descriptor is victim.
He decks you pretty hard for mouthing off. And you are going to take, of course, you're going to take 5 points of bludgeoning damage as he just plucks you in the jaw.
Big man hitting someone who can't fight back.
And just kind of like huffs at you and then goes back to rummaging through Chlor's things. And then Bob, as they kind of sift through your stuff, they just find like random, because you have druidic focuses and stuff in your inventory. They just kind of like see these just random nature elements, and I'm just like,
it's completely uninteresting. There's nothing in there of any value to anybody except maybe me.
One pair of woolen socks.
Damn straight.
The comfiest freaking woolen socks you sought out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will get emotionally distressed if they start monkeying with my socks. Now, put way too much effort into them.
They don't seem to care too much. They're just kind of rummaging through. But Theo, your notebook is definitely getting perused through.
Yeah. DM, I'll talk to you about that afterwards. There's some things that are probably in there that they will find interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
That'll be good. We're gonna need that because I think actually right here is not a bad spot to wrap up, as you guys are all.
I was just planning on how we were gonna get out of this.
Well, now you have like until next session to really, unless you have an idea you want to execute like right now.
No.
Okay.
No.
So
it would take. It was in the process.
All right. Well, thank you guys for
Evolutionary
joining.
process.
We will resume maybe next week, maybe in a couple weeks. We don't know. It's on a Tuesday coming up. I'm sure
Mystery.
we will try to play again. This video should be up for the session hopefully by this week, like hopefully Friday is my goal. No later than this weekend. You can check out the previous episodes on YouTube. Links for that in chat. If you want to see the schedule of other stuff that's going on the channel, hit up the Discord. There's just a channel for that. And yeah, thanks for joining us. And hopefully we'll have Clore, actually Dave, back with us next session, and
Hope so.
see what he thinks of
He's gonna be
what we've
pissed.
gotten ourselves into.
gone
So
from-
Sorry. Okay.
What is that saying? No good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah.
something like
clearly.
that. Something like that. Well,
Oh no.
thank you guys again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, DM. That was fun.